Hello, my beautiful gemstones. Welcome to the weekend live intuitive oracle. I am home in my office and settled. So really happy to see all of you guys here already. That is really cool. And also some new names. And it's going to be a good night. As many of you know, I have 3 new decks that my mom got me as an early birthday gift that I'm trying, or actually I'm really excited to get into and use tonight for sure. Yeah, early. I had to pull myself away from a Britney Spears interview I was watching, an old one. And it was hard. we probably would have started a little earlier if I could have pulled myself away from that a little faster. Melissa, Nicole, Sandra, Heath, good to see you. Darling, Deb, what's up, Deb girl? Jim's camera at dawn, love that name. Good to see you. Miss Vera Ray, yes, ma'am, we sure can. The Bat Mom. Raymond, what is up? Miss Cindy Lee, Paranormal Pixie. Blue Crossroads. No, it's not bad, honey. You just have to pay like more extra attention in March is all. I don't want you to take that reading as anything negative, because at the end of the day, we are all in control of our destinies. This is just what's lingering around you at the moment. And that happens a lot when we're going through like several significant major changes all at once. Our energy can get really confused if we don't stay grounded and balanced. And it's harder for us to be able to tell the difference between right and wrong, not literal right and wrong, but like energetic, like who and what we accept into our lives. Our defenses are more down when we're making major changes. But I believe you're going to be just fine because you're a meticulous person who likes the finer details to begin with. Just keep yourself protected and grounded and you're going to be great. And I saved and pinned that text message so I can take a look at that place. Mark Halstead, what's up, sweetheart? It's a little hot in here. I'm trying to decide if I want to open my window or not, so I may jump up in a minute. Smoochy, smoochy. Okay, Miss Pixie. Invited some friends. I love that. Let's bring in our Sir Ghost Dragons. Oh, Aunt Edna. The full moon is out.
Hello, folks. I'll say my hellos as we go. Hey, Nutslap, I will say hi to him. Just so I like to say Nutslap.
Hot and her. Okay, so if you guys didn't see it yet, I do have the Shadow Path Oracle, Path of Shadows, it's actually called. And these are short meanings on deck, but the cards themselves are really gorgeous. The artwork is just beautiful. And I have, I think I showed these to you guys on Tuesday, so many of you saw them, the classic horror oracle deck. And then there is the celebrity spirit. So I'm excited to get some use out of them. Roger Blair, anyone else that I missed? I hope Miss Lotus Girl is doing all right. I know so many of you have been struggling, and I just want you to know that I do light candles. I do pray. I do speak to my guides to try to get them to knock some sense into your guides, to knock some sense into you on a regular basis. That's not really how it works, but a girl can ask, you know? Anything else?
I'm a man of silence tonight. It's all you, baby doll.
All right. It sounds good to me. The cutest thing happened. So last night, RJ and I were in bed and we were getting ready to go to sleep. And he was flipping through YouTube and he's like, there's nothing to watch. And I was like, why don't we watch a movie? So the thumbnail for this stream comes up and he goes to click on it. And I said, no, honey, do you see in the bottom right-hand corner? He's just learning how to read. I said, it says upcoming. And he said, what does that mean? And I said, that means that it's coming up. It hasn't happened yet. So mommy will be doing it tomorrow. He's like, oh, okay. So he goes to click on it to like it because he has to like all my videos. When he goes to click on it, I see that he's not subscribed. Now I know RJ is subscribed to my channel. And I jokingly said, "Oh, you aren't subscribed to mommy's channel?" Totally kidding. Like, this kid bursts into tears to the point where I thought he had like hurt himself somehow, like hit his leg, or I said, "Oh my God, can you tell me what's wrong?" And he's covering his face. I said, "Honey, tell mommy what is wrong. What just happened?" He goes, "I swear I was subscribed to your channel." And I
Oh, poor kid.
So I had to explain to him that YouTube does that a lot. And honestly, I think I might have unsubscribed him. I don't think I did, but the more I thought about it, I was like, did I do that? You know, I don't know why I would have, but I had to think about it. But I had to take like 10 minutes to explain to him that sometimes YouTube does that. So guys, I know that Mom Ray, make sure you're checking to make sure you're still subscribed. I honestly thought, my back is so itchy. I honestly thought that he had like, I don't know, hit his foot against the wall. Like, he was really upset. I felt horrible. And I was like, I know you were subscribed. It's okay. And he's like, I don't know what happened. Arisha, what's up, girl? All right, everybody. What's next?
Okay.
I'm trying to read the comments. I keep seeing Oreo Blast, Oreo Blast, Oreo Blast. And it's making me think of these new Oreos with like hot pink icing. They're called like outer space Oreos or something. Have you guys seen those? I haven't gotten them yet, but I'm going to. John P. Adventures, what is up? Arisha, so good to see you. It's been a while. All right, who's
Okay, first I need to ask Melissa and Sandra Heath. Are you here? Melissa Nicole and Sandra Heath. Since you were the first ones in the chat, I usually do you guys first. There's Lotus.
There she is. That's okay, honey.
If not, darling Deb, are you in here? Those are the first three in chat. If not, we're going to go straight into Jim.
All right, so Melissa,
Sandra and Darling Deb.
Sandra and Darling Deb. Give me 1 second, guys. I do have to crack my window. It's really hot in here. Ow, ow, ow.
Ow, ow.
My phone fell on my toe. All right. Take this. I'll be right there, guys.
Yep. Sure.
I also lost a nail, so.
Oh, jeez. Okay, Darling Deb's here.
My back. My back is like super itchy. It's been a weird week for me. I've got Campfire Volume 2 coming out on the 27th, and I felt really overwhelmed about releasing so many books all at once. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it. My mentor, who's helping me a little bit and helps kind of keep me focused, he really wanted me to do it. And then Campfire 1 bombed, and I got like traumatized. And I decided like, I'm going to go a few days without writing anything for this book and just take a break. And then after like 5 days, I was like, well, I already went this long, so I can't reach out to my mentor now because he's probably going to be mad. So then I went 10 days. And then I was like, well, now that I went 10 days, I really can't. So 25 days later, he hits me up and he's like, you've got to write this book. You know, it's just stories. You just have to put them together. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. And then I went like another 3 days without doing it because I put so much pressure on myself about this book that I would get up in the morning and I didn't even want to open my computer. I talked myself into this circle of insanity where I was like, now I've failed him. Now I've got writer's block, and now he's going to be so angry with me. So I better just do even less. I don't know. I'm very weird under pressure. But it was only pressure I was putting on myself. So anyway, he's like, we're fine. You're fine. It's okay. We're going to get it done. So we have this really important long meeting through phone. Yeah, I think it was yesterday we were supposed to do it. I wake up in the morning my service provider for my cell phone is down for the first time ever. And in New Jersey. And so for like 6 hours, I had no phone service. So I spent 2 hours trying to deal with that. So anyway, at the end of the day, I panicked and freaked out again on last night, but it's all finished. It's good. And long story long, Campfire Stories Volume 2 will be coming out on February 27th on Amazon for the Kindle and the paperback. And then I'm going to take a break and write another really long one, unless Campfire Stories does really, really well, because he did say Campfire Stories, the first volume is like moving up to number 1, getting closer, like inching closer. So if the series does well, I'll do more. But I'm definitely not, I need a break from book writing. So Nomia, what is up? Yes, Batmom, AT&T, Lotus Girl. I wish there were so many of you. I wish there was so much more that I can do, you know? I just love you all so much, and I admire so many of you, and it sounds so corny, but like I just want all of you to be okay. Like if I could wave a magic wand and make all of you guys okay, like I really, really would. I think the world needs more of that, you know? Especially these crazy traumatizing situations that a lot of us are going through. March is not going to be an easy month for a lot of people. You know, it's one of those months, Steve and I was talking about it before we went live, where everyone's like October, you know, the veil is thinner on Halloween. And I tell you guys, like throughout the month, it starts around the 1st and kind of thins out. And I know a lot of people don't like the veil is thinning, but that's the easiest way to explain it. And then on Halloween, it's at its thinnest. Something very similar happens in March, though, that a lot of people don't realize. If you think back on like just having like a quote unquote run of bad luck every like month for your entire life, most of it probably happened in March. It's just not, the energy is not good if you're not vibrating very, very high. Unless, of course, you're a Pisces, which I'm lucky I am, whether it's sun, moon, or rising. Suns specifically, but moons and risings as well. You have a really great chance of making this year really, really great, because all of the trauma and all of the poop that everyone else is going through, it's exactly what Pisces has been dealing with the last 8 years. For some reason, it's like just, it's flipped for us. Whereas the other 11 signs will start that 8 years now, this year. So, yeah.
Well,
I'll be another year older in March.
Jarvis' birthday, so I wanted to wish him a happy birthday. He's not feeling well, so.
Oh, happy birthday to our favorite gerbil milker. Roger Blair, when is your birthday in March? Batmom, I'm not going to get political, but I would hope that maybe something like that were to happen in November. I mean, I don't know. Sandra, welcome back. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Melissa has not answered, but I'm sure she'll pop back in. If not, and we don't have like too much going on tonight and there's time at the end, she can have a time stamp.
Lotus needs one too, because she's sicker than a dog.
No problem. I got you, girl. March 6th, March 22nd. Okay, so in Aries, March Aries. Okay. Mom is March 6th Pisces. I'm March 1st Pisces. Back from a walk. All right, so we'll start with Sandra and we'll do Deb and then we'll take it from there.
That's the order.
Sandra, I know you were very interested in the newer decks. Do you have a preference or do you just want me to choose one for you?
You can
okay,
choose.
I'm sorry?
I was just saying what she said.
Oh. What's going on with my back? I don't know why it's itching. All right, I am going to use Celebrity Spirit because I'm really excited to use these new decks, and I've got some of our trusted favorites. Fox Spirit Animal. Oh, granddaughter turns 2. I love that age. And I remember when RJ was 2, I was like, please, can we just get him into kindergarten already? And now that he's in kindergarten, I'm like looking at all these old videos and I'm like, what happened? Oh. So Kurt Cobain would have turned 57 yesterday. Who feels old? Anybody else? Oh, little Foxy. He does look very dapper tonight, doesn't he? No, me, Drew. All right. So, Sandra, you got Linda McCartney. Call in your soulmate, card number 12. Remember, everybody, soulmate does not necessarily mean romantic love, but it definitely could. So, what these cards, let me explain really quickly. Everyone has a life mission. Like in your contract, you will choose this mission. I think there's 12 or 15 of them. And then there are 2 like submissions, right? So a leader, a healer, a hero, an anti-hero. Like there's something that you're doing that you're aiming to accomplish and become in this incarnation. What these cards do, it's really cool, is they talk about so even if this isn't like your specific chart, which you would have no way of knowing until you're on the other side, it gives you like what her soul mission was, and that will be the energy coming in for you for the time of this reading. So Linda McCartney, call in your soulmate. Her I wish I could think of the name of it. Her title, I guess, that's not the right word, but that's what I'll use, is lover explorer, also partner, entrepreneur, and activist. Linda Louise McCartney Eastman was born on the 24th of September, 1941 in Scarsdale, I'm holding it backwards, New York, and died on the 17th of April, 1998 of breast cancer. She was an astrological Libra. Linda was an American photographer, musician, entrepreneur, and animal rights activist. She was best known as a vegetarian and the wife of Paul McCartney, one of the famous members of the Beatles, and for her well-known photographs of celebrities and contemporary musicians. Linda also played keyboard and sang vocals with her husband Paul and toured with his groups. Throughout her life, she wrote many cookbooks and inspiring recipes for meatless meals, and also founded the Linda McCartney Foods Company with her husband. So the message is, when you love your life and friends with passion, anything in this world is possible. When Linda came through in the group seance, so this medium who did this book is talking about the experiences with each celebrity, and then they go into the meaning. So I just love these cards. They're so in depth. When Linda came through in the group seance and spoke to us, she had a very strong feminine energy, was very likable, as I can imagine she was in life too, and everyone loved her. I sensed her as a strong, independent woman with certain views on things, especially her view on the killing of animals. Guys, I'm not making any kind of personal statement on this. I'm just reading. The first thing she mentioned was that Paul was definitely her soulmate and how happy she was in their relationship. One of her greatest loves was her family and, of course, her soulmate, whom she did manage to finally find. Linda also said how brilliant and sensitive Paul is, and mentioned very pointedly, because she was there, how it wasn't Paul who broke up the Beatles, but Yoko. This, of course, can be debatable today by fans from both sides. Linda had a very strong, intelligent energy, spoke fondly of her amazing life, and mentioned how important love was in its uniqueness and form. Her motto was to live life to the full. Linda said she loved playing in Paul's bands and did it for fun. If you have drawn out this card today, Spirit is telling you, Sandra, telling you very gently to love whatever you do with a passion, and your life and work will flow more easily. Once you have the right mindset and dedication, creative energy will flourish and flow easily as you are living your true destiny. Like everything in life, anything we put love, dedication, time, and energy into will generally flourish like a beautiful garden full of rich nourishment and colorful blooms. Kira, I am, and anyone else that I missed, welcome. So, okay. Sandra, this is a really great card because I dropped one from another deck. Sorry. This is a really great card because it talks about something that I say all the time, and it sounds so ridiculous, I guess, when I say it. All you need is love, right? No pun intended with the Beatles, but it is really true. And this card, in the next week or two, your team wants you, Sandra, to take a look at what you're pouring your love into. What are you pouring your energy into? What and who are you dedicated to? And how is that working out for you? Because when we deal in energy, as we do as humans, you can't help but do it. Even someone like me who doesn't even leave my house to like go to the grocery store, right? We're still giving and taking energy. So if you're doing anything, putting your energy, effort, time, love, care, whatever you're putting all of that into or putting your focus onto, and it's taking your energy and taking your energy and taking your energy, but not reciprocating it back to you, if it's not turning into something, you're wasting it. And for this card to pop up for you, Sandra, it means that your team is trying to guide you gently to reassess relationships in your life, reassess where you're spending your time, who you're spending your time with, what you're passionate about. Are you following your dream or your dreams of now, right? I feel like this is something that is really imperative for you to understand right now before you waste any more time, effort, or energy. And if you are doing things that you can honestly say, like, no, I do feel like everything that I'm putting my time, effort, and energy and my love into, and everyone, like they're all giving it back to me, that's great. But there has to be something here that's out of balance for this card to come up, because this card wouldn't come up if everything were in balance, because it's pointing to being a little bit out of balance, at the very least, a little bit. So call in your soulmate. Look around you. Who in your life causes nothing but drama? Who has nothing but toxicity, brings in heartache, pain, agitation? Who, when they call you and you look at the phone, you go, ugh, you know, that person is a waste of your energy. They are not a part of your soul family. They are not contracted to be in your life for any long term. And we all have at least one person. Most of us have many like that we kind of tolerate just for the sake of getting along and like not having conflict. You need to reassess those people, those situations, relationships, and situationships, because if your life is too full of these types of situations, scenarios, and relationships, there's no room for the universe to bring our soul family and our soulmates in, right? So I always describe it like this. Think of your life as a chessboard. You're in the middle, not as playing chess, just as the board with all of the pieces filled. It's filled up. There is no room to put another piece or for any of the pieces to move. So how do you bring more people in? How do you bring more opportunities in, more love in, more peace of mind, more passion, more greatness, more money, maybe? You can't until you're willing to let go of some of the outside edge pieces that just aren't doing anything for you anymore. So true right now. Great. Darling Deb, I'm going to use the same deck for you. Kira, I understand you're not going to be in chat. If you'd like a reading, though, when we call your name, please try to respond. That way we know you're still here, because sometimes people get bored of hearing me ramble, or they just don't feel like waiting anymore or something like that, and we think they left. So, Kira, the readings are chosen in the order in which you came in. The minute you come into the stream, my lovely assistant, Ghostdragonzw here, writes your name down, even if you haven't said you didn't want a reading. So everyone in here is written down on the list in the order that they showed up. If I call your name and you didn't want a reading, you could just say, I pass, right? When we don't have too many people, we try to bump the newer people up, but we are starting out with a pretty big group tonight, so maybe we can just flow and fly right through them. I'm super excited. I love you too, Miss Kira. I'm excited about how my channel's growing, and it's literally all because of you guys. I wasn't going to have a video on Monday, but I had to write one and research scripts and film one today to make sure that I had at least one. All right, very cool, Miss Kira. And then I just, when I call your name or say your name out loud, I will pull in your team and they'll tell me which deck to use, and they'll tell me when to stop shuffling to pull the card. All right, Miss Darling Deb. I showed up yesterday, but it disappeared again. All right, no problem, girl. Okay, interesting. I did a video on this particular celebrity spirit. Card number 16, Deb, Harry Houdini. And this is something you and I talk about a lot, right? Trust your gut. So let's see. magician, wizard, visionary, alchemist. Harry Houdini was born Eric Weiss on 24th of March, 1874, and died on 31st of October, 1926 of peritonitis. He was an Aries. Harry Houdini was a Hungarian-born illusionist and stunt performer, had a Jewish background, and lived most of his life in the United States. He was known for his very famous and sensational escape acts. In his performances, he'd use chains, ropes slung from skyscrapers, straitjackets underwater that he'd have to escape from, and hold his breath inside a sealed milk can with water in it. Harry had thousands of fans all over the world and belonged to the Society of American Magicians, upholding professional standards and exposing fraudulent artists. Houdini was widely known as the Handcuff King. He toured England, Wales, Scotland, the Netherlands, Germany, France, and Russia, and promoted many magicians like himself. He was also very interested in the exposure of fraudulent mediums and psychics. And I've actually channeled him before when I was doing that video. I think it was like 3 years ago by now. But he was an interesting character. So, darling Deb, the message, never give up, keep pushing, and stay focused. I was quite surprised when Harry first started coming into my private seances, because it wasn't to talk about himself and his views or everyday things for that matter, but to offer advice and teaching about paranormal energy and activity in the space we constantly produced in the fortnightly seances we held. He liked giving advice through me, the medium, to the regular sitters in the room. Houdini told us to, quote, keep your eyes on the trumpet, as you will see spirit faces soon, quote, end quote, or, quote, now ask the table to jump, end quote. Whenever he would say these things would happen to the delight of everyone. Each time he is in the room, Houdini is always doing different things. We follow up with discussion and regard him as a spiritual teacher who shows us how to produce more paranormal energy. Throughout my own experimental private seances, Houdini has always been a very helpful spirit visitor, often giving instructions and directions simply to help the sitters with the phenomenon. So she's the medium in the room. She sits with other psychics in training, mediums in training, and channelers. And that's how she got the things that came through for this book. But I noticed with him too, he was so adamant that 99, if not 100% of mediums and psychics were fake. He was alive during the, the spiritual movement, that now he's trying to help us mediums make it so that it can't be disproven, really proving that we're not trying to be fraudulent or scam anybody. So the meaning, Deb, when you select this card, it's about mystery, alchemy, and transformation. It's time to be the master of your destiny and create the life, job, or relationships that you want. You are the magician. It's time to think, imagine, and be the creator of your own destiny. You have the freedom to go in any direction, as you can do anything you choose. It's now time to take charge of your life and manifest what you need to be a success, as you have all the tools to make these things happen. Has there been a project you've been thinking of for a while, a job you need to apply for now, or anything that you've had your sights on? With determination, you can achieve anything. And the big thing here, Deb, is following your gut, okay? And understanding, and I say this to you all the time, it's so funny. You already have the answers, but you'll come to me and be like, hey, I'm pretty sure this is what's going on, but can you back me up, or am I wrong? And I tell you, you don't need me, but you do not yet. And it's okay, because I still second guess a lot of things sometimes too. And it's literally right there in front of me where I can see it, where you still need that outside validation. And the universe is telling you that's okay, Deb. It's fine. But in the next week or two, try to feel things out as best you can and not go for the validation every single time. Validate what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what your instincts are yourself. Even if you make some mistakes, even if you get it wrong, that's the only thing that's going to teach you the difference between when your instinct is on point and when it's not. Because if you're constantly having it verified from someone who knows, which I don't mind doing at all, I'm not complaining, but it's actually really good advice, because if you don't allow yourself to make mistakes every once in a while in any area of your life, then how will you ever learn? The process of whatever this is, or these things are, because there's more than one thing that you're trying to manifest or make happen in your life. And you're probably thinking sometimes too, like, there's no reason this shouldn't be happening. I don't get it. It's because you haven't learned the lessons yet, not all of them. And the only way to do that is by trial and error. And that is what in the next week or two, your team wants you to do. Okay. All right. Who's next?
Okay. Jim Cameras at dawn.
All right, Jim. Let's use the divine circus.
Okay, Arisha, I got you, hon.
All right, Jim, I hope you're listening. Divine disguise, card number 23, my favorite number indeedy. Thank you, Miss Kira. I really do appreciate it, especially right now. Means a lot to me and anyone else who donates weekly or who donates at all. Okay, Jim, blessings are the mysterious workings of the universe, there to help us along our unique path to live our truths and fulfill our potential. The universe has the knack of knowing just what it is we need, even when sometimes we might think we need something altogether different. This is how it can be that something we resist and reject in our lives can become the very thing we are most grateful for later on. We realize it has been a blessing masked, something actually helping us, even though it might have come in the form of a challenge or struggle, before we eventually gain great benefit from it. The Oracle of Divine Disguise brings you a positive message and prediction for your future. It brings you the promise of peace of mind and a realization that the universe does really know what it's doing. It's in your corner, on your side, cheering you on and helping you avoid unnecessary pitfalls, even if you don't know they exist. The Oracle indicates that the real beauty of a situation isn't obvious to you yet. It could be a delay or change in plans that turns out to be in your favor, even if at the time you are sure it will signal failure. It could be the wrong person saying no so the right person can say yes. It could what? Hey. It could be being blocked from turning back to your past, so you must continue forward for the magic of your future. Whatever your hidden blessing, the Oracle of Divine Disguise tells you that you are soon going to realize just how loved and helped you are in all areas of your life. When this oracle appears, you are being told specifically that you don't need to worry. Even that which appears to be most troublesome is going to reveal itself to be working in your favor. So, Jim, yeah, this is something that I do talk about all the time. I'm just not able to say it so eloquently when I say things like, you've been planning a vacation for a year and you get to the airport and you're all ready to go and all planes are grounded. There's no new flights out and you can't get a refund. So your vacation is completely ruined. But while at the airport, you end up meeting the love of your life. And had the planes never been grounded, you never would have met that person. Or being passed up for a promotion at work, so you get pissed off and you quit, and then you're like, oh crap, now what am I going to do? Well, if you were at work, you never would have received the phone call of someone offering you something even more lucrative, doing something you love. This is kind of the quote unquote devil in disguise, but it's a divine disguise. This is you looking at something as though it's really bad and very troublesome and worrisome and kind of beating yourself up and like, why is this happening to me? And I won't say in the next week or two, but I will say within the next few months, Jim, you will understand why this happened the way it did. And you're going to be so eternally grateful. So until you realize that lesson and until you realize that, it's going to be a kind of a hard road, a hard thing to understand, but the universe is testing you to make sure you don't give up. The one thing that I've learned, okay? Hey, Guardian Jackpot. The one thing that I've learned is like the more that we worry about something, the more we end up having to worry about it. So I've mentioned that for the last year, I've made really, really good money ghostwriting. I had a contract. I felt so safe in that job. The job was made and created for me to be able to make money legitimately and not have to worry about all these other weird things that come along with me being who I am and people giving me jobs. But then all of a sudden on the 3rd of January this year, I was told contract ended. The email must have gotten lost. You no longer have any income at all except for donations on YouTube. So I went from making between $2,500 and $3,500 a month to making $0. And I said to myself, and anybody that knows me personally knows I do worry, but I try my best not to. And I keep telling myself over and over again. And the reason I'm talking about this is because this is exactly what's going on with you, Jim. I keep telling myself the universe did that because the next thing that's coming in is going to be so mega and so major and get me right to where I need to be, that had I been contracted to that particular company doing that particular thing, I never would have even noticed this new opportunity. Now it hasn't come in yet. It's taking forever. I'm getting impatient. I'm struggling and I'm worried, but it hasn't zapped my happiness or my faith for the most part, because I know with absolute certainty that something bigger and better is coming in. And that, Jim, is what the universe is saying to you. Do not panic. Do not get angry. Do not become bitter. And do not give up. Because I'd say in the next 2 to 3 months, this whole situation that seems like it's such a disaster right now is going to be such a blessing. Hey, Mandy.
Okay. Next is Vera Ray. I saw her come in and she said she was here. She was back. So Vera, if you're here, please let us know. And then Batmom. Shall we all do it together? Vera, Vera, come forth.
Oof. Well, Miss Pixie, I am 40 until next Friday. It was very shocking. And being financially independent for the first time in my life, it was devastating. And then I had to listen to what the universe was saying to me. And that's that, like, it's going to be anything better than you could have imagined. You could have ever imagined, but you have to imagine better. So sometimes it's hard for me to pick myself up out of the poor, pitiful Gemma, woe is me. But for the most part, I do try, and I try to just go along. I'm very fortunate. I'm able to stay home and I don't have to leave the house to get a job. My income is mine. I do have bills and things I'm responsible for, but I have friends that'll help me. And I have to start really even more so counting those blessings. You're very welcome, Jim's camera. All right. So Miss Vera will probably stop back in. Let's go to Batmom. I'm going to use Black Moon Lilith. Well, thank you, ma'am. Oh, nice, Smoochie. Mars, drive, energy, and passion, card number 26. Batmom, this is you. Mars is the cosmic divine masculine and loves to initiate action, lead, compete, and come out on top. If you have felt stagnancy in your life, Batmom, this card indicates that a breakthrough is imminent. When Mars is present, the universe is ready for you to move forward. A supportive masculine figure could also be coming into your life to assist you. One caveat about Mars energy: the need for dominance and power struggles can come up now, so remember to practice patience. In astrology, Mars is a planet of action, drive, sex, aggression, passion, physical strength, and how we get things done. In Roman mythology, Mars is the god of war, the military, and agriculture. It also rules over the fire sign of Aries and the water sign of Scorpio. Aries is the explosive and physical action-oriented side, while Scorpio represents the strategic and passionately reactive side. In astrology, it is considered a personal planet, meaning that it appears prominent in your outward personality. It can describe how we like to exercise, what motivates us, and how we react in anger. And my Mars is in Aries, right at home, and my ascendant is Aries. So even with the Pisces Sun, Libra Moon, that's why I come off as a little abrasive sometimes. That's this kind of energy. When you are doing something that you are passionate about, Batmom, it increases your manifestation power. Find your Mars sign in your birth chart and match it in the following list with what drives you. So remember, we talked about birth charts. Okay, so if your Mars is in Aries, it, like mine, it signals leadership and independence. Taurus, sensuality and values. Gemini, speech and communication. Cancer, nurturing and emotion. Leo, expression and creativity. Virgo, analysis and organization. Libra, beauty and balance. Scorpio, strategy and intuition. Sagittarius, learning and optimism. Capricorn, structure and discipline. Aquarius, logic and innovation. And Pisces, emotional depth. Prepare for a fiery, passionate time of creation. Sex is a positive outlet for you right now. What's up, Heather? Is your moon in Aries, Miss Smoochie? Aquarius, Sun, Aries, Moon. Interesting. Okay, so Batmom, this is talking about a lot of things right now. You're a Capricorn Sun, but you also have planetary positions for each planet out there. So your Mars would be in one of the 12 signs. Like I said, my Mars is in Aries, where it's at home, but you could have Mars in any of those planets, and you can find that out very easily. Cafe Astrology Free Natal Report, and it'll give you this like amazingly unique to you astrology chart. So anyway, one of the things this card is talking about, Batmom, is a very kind of dominant or dominating masculine person coming into your life. Now, that doesn't mean male. It means masculine, which means the person has, if it's a female, they have a lot of masculinity and masculine signage, I guess you could say, in their chart, traits, right? Allow this person to lead you. Okay, allow this person to take the reins for a little while you practice being patient. Now, this can coincide with some of the other readings I already did tonight, where it's talking about really understanding that you have a plan that you don't know about. And in your soul contract, you're in the fifth dimension. You got together with your soulmates, your spirit team, your guides, all of that. And you decided what you wanted to accomplish in this life. Okay. We start feeling really anxious, restless, sometimes depressed or despondent. It really depends on your character when we're not on that path to our destiny that we've chosen for ourselves, because subconsciously, innately, energetically, we know that we're not near there. This is you getting back on track. So in the next week or two, be willing to take practical advice. Be willing to take a step back and see the role that you're playing in preventing whatever it is you're trying to manifest from happening, because we all, as mere humans, do end up inadvertently a lot of the time or accidentally stopping our manifestations in their tracks. Again, I bring up money, constantly sitting there going, man, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough money. I'm not going to be able to pay my bills. You're manifesting that. The universe is like, oh, you don't have enough money. You're not going to be able to pay your bills. Gotcha. Boom. There it is. Trying to really switch your mind frame and get out of that anger. And anger is a really hard spot to get out of when you're dealing with Mars, because Mars is fire and passion. And at a lower vibration, Mars is anger. So this is taking a step back, looking at your life overall, learning the lessons, making room for new things, people, places, things, opportunities to manifest, and knowing deep down inside that no matter what, everything is going to be okay. It's going to be all right. Raymond, happy early birthday. Vera has not answered. Melissa Nicole's back in, so
I was cleaning the board. Do Raymond, then we'll do Melissa, then we'll go back in order, because Melissa was actually the first one in the chat tonight.
Yes. All right. Raymond, I am using the classic horror. You're welcome, Miss Batmom. Yeah, anger, resentment. Who of us can say that we don't understand that? But this is your team telling you, like, we got this. You got this. But if you don't have faith in you or in your team, who's going to? Yes, you are on the list, Kira. All right, Raymond. Raymond, how old are you going to be? I know it's rude to ask, but I tell people my age all the time, so I don't care. Facts. No cap. All right. Midnight, the gremlin. Raymond, you didn't listen, and you see what happens? Some rules are made to be followed, and doing so can make the difference between a sweet circumstance or quickly multiplying elements of chaos. Timing can be everything. Raymond, if things start to take a turn for the worse, it can be helpful to shine a light on the problem rather than let it fester in the dark. In times of festivity, be mindful if your gift giving of your be mindful in your gift giving, and remember that personal experience can make holidays challenging for some people. Take comfort in doing what's responsible. Yeah. So what I'm seeing for you in the next 2 weeks, Raymond, is I think I just keep hearing cringe. So I think something's coming up, maybe that you did accidentally or that you did a really long time ago. And for some reason, it's being brought back up, like brought back into your life. If this is a person who's refusing to let something go, acknowledge it. I do, as you probably know, suggest a lot of the time just ghosting until you're ready to deal with something. This is not the time to do that. Multiplying elements and agents of chaos is what is going to happen if you do not nip whatever or whoever this is in the bud or butt immediately. Don't let anyone come in and try to bring you down, specifically on your birthday. I feel like this is, fortuitous that this came up the day before your birthday. It's talking about celebration. I don't know how you choose to celebrate your birthday, but don't let someone come and take away your joy and your happiness, even if holidays are hard for them. Simply be mindful of who you're bringing into your energy, not just on your birthday, but in the next 2 weeks and always. If somebody absolutely cannot be happy, even just for the fact that you're happy, then how much do they actually care about you? I never recommend being confrontational. All right? Not in a cruel or unkind way. But in the next week or two, Raymond, it is time for you to confront someone who has constantly and consistently either let you down, screwed you over, messed you up, a very toxic, chaotic person and or situation. If you don't shine a light on this and call this person out, for better or for worse, it's going to fester and then it is going to become worse. Okay. So be very careful how you play this hand as well. Just be straightforward, speak only in facts, try not to have an emotional response. Let this person know how you feel. And for all intents and purposes, it may actually be time for you to stop dealing with this person or to get out of this situation. It's just not a good look. And it's only going to keep festering and getting worse. Nothing about whatever this situation or relationship is going to get better, especially if you and everyone else around continues to ignore. I always use the example of like the abusive, raging alcoholic that we all know one or have known one. The more people ignore this type of behavior, the more out of control it gets because the person is never held accountable. That is this type of energy. Someone needs to be held accountable, and it's not you. And I feel like this person's going to be surprised and they're going to be defensive and they may not want to talk to you for a little bit, but I think that's the whole point, to remove this person and their nasty energy away from you. Okay? So that you can finally move on and have something or someone come in to replace it. Raymond, I'm so glad that you're at least doing okay, doing better. Maybe this would be, I would say with that, be very mindful of your physical health, of being around people that your physical health is important to as well. Did you see this movie, Feeding After Midnight? What happens? So there could also be a health connection here, okay? Where you do not want people who are going to be a bad influence on you in any area of your life around, especially in the next 2 weeks. And personal trauma is not a good excuse anymore. It's time for some loving confrontation. Melissa Nicole. Mike Roberts. You're on a date talking to us. You guys are so awesome. Melissa, I'm using Celebrity Spirit. Oh, Miss Smoochie, take care of yourself. They were hangry. Yes, indeed. Kobe Bryant, share your knowledge. Card number 29. Hero, ruler, athlete, warrior, role model. On the 26th of January 2020, NBA giant Kobe Bryant, born the 23rd of August 1978, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, died in a helicopter crash at the age of 41. His young daughter, who was on board with him, as well as 7 others, were all killed when the accident happened in foggy weather. Unfortunately, there were no reported survivors. Kobe was a Virgo. According to reports, Kobe often used helicopters to beat the busy Los Angeles traffic. He had a career with the Los Angeles Lakers that spanned more than 20 years and was very supportive of his daughter's career in the same sport. The message: support the new generation of our children as they are the real stars of the new world. I had no idea who Kobe was until I heard the news on television, and I'm not a basketball fan. I heard Kobe appear in an apparition suddenly one morning, standing right next to me while I was on a bus and on my way to do some shopping with my husband. When I tuned into him, he asked if he could be included in my card deck, as it was his mission to be remembered to help children. Kobe's reason being that he was very supportive of children's sport and the game. One of his greatest loves was his own kids, whom he adored. When he died, he said he was with his daughter, who was still by his side, safe and doing well with him in the spirit world. If you have received this card today, Melissa, many people who know you may look up to you as you are capable of great feats and strength or skill. Through this belief in yourself and your own determination, you are able to confront any obstacle in your life with great success, no matter how difficult or complicated the situation is. No matter what life throws at you or how you are tested, you have this innate ability and spiritual power to rise above your fears due to your belief in yourself, the outcome, and your capabilities for your own empowerment. Understand, you are a valuable asset in many people's lives. Melissa, I know you don't have children of your own. I feel like the first thing that came to my mind, honestly, when I read this was like your inner child. I feel like a lot of your struggle has to do with your inner child. And I know that sounds kind of cliche and even a little strange to some people, but it's a fact that when our inner child is screaming and throwing tantrums inside of us, right? Inside our minds, inside our energy. I have a stray hair somewhere. We can never fully relax, and we can never fully move forward in anything that we're trying to do in our lives as an adult. We're stuck with that. There are people around you that look up to you. You may not be able to see that, but there are. And there are people who are kind of looking at you a little confused and cross-eyed, like, how are you struggling with this? Like, you're so strong. Nobody really knows the innate deep inside of you unless you let them into that. So to the outside world, you could look maybe like you have it all together, or maybe like, I don't want to say like you don't have a care in the world, because I don't think that's true, but to the outside world, it looks a lot less worse than it is. It's not up to you to live up to that expectation and walk around all of the time pretending, Melissa, that it's, everything's a bed of roses, or that you're not struggling as badly as you are. But there comes a time when you have to just take the reins. And this is what your team is saying. In the next week or two, it's like, poop or get off the pot. What are you doing? Because you have everything you need right now, whether you think you do or not, to get through this and come out the other side a better person. But I feel like there's a part of you, maybe your inner child, because of how this card was speaking about children that is addicted to the chaos, is addicted to the toxicity, is addicted to all of the, just nonsense, the not love you receive, the narcissism around you. Again, the chaos, the toxicity. And Melissa, this is your team saying, how do you silence that inner voice? By doing what's best for you and not caring who's looking, what they think, feel, say, or even do. Because the situation isn't going to go on forever. Eventually, if something is not meant for you, it will not be. So how much more time do you need to waste? That's not me asking you. Girl, I know the feeling. Who hasn't been there and been there for years? But your team wants to know. How much more time are we wasting on this? Because it's eventually going to end anyway. Whatever this is that you've been struggling with and fighting through and maybe even fighting for at some point, it's not meant to last. It's already been going on for too long. Nothing else will get permanently better until you take care of the elephant in the room. Divine Empathic, what's up? Anyone else that I missed? All right, Miss Vera Ray.
And then go ahead, do her.
After that, we're going to start going to like putting people at the end. But since I know Vera and Melissa sometimes are in and out, it's not a big deal. All right, Miss Vera, let's see. I'm going to use the wisdom of the House of Night. So then, Melissa, You're so welcome. Thank you, everybody. Trapped, Reframe. Vera, card number 34. My dear sweet child, Vera, do you feel as if you are trapped in your life right now? Do you sense that you cannot do what you really want to because others have expectations of you that you may or may not be able to fulfill? Do you feel as if you will never get what you want or go where you want to go? Have patience, for truly you are in a temporary prison that exists in your mind. Your circumstances, no matter what they are, will change, and you will be free to experience the life you wish to lead. In these times, Vera, dreaming is the best antidote, and of course, patience. Consider the story of the half-raven boy trapped in conflict until he finally follows his heart. Trust in me, for I will show you when the cage doors open so that you can fly free. This is you keeping up appearances, okay? I just mentioned something slightly to this effect to Melissa, where it's like, all right, as long as everyone thinks everything's okay and I have everything under control. This is people-pleasing doormat energy. And I'm not calling you a doormat. I'm just thinking that there are people around you that kind of look at you in that way, right? I feel as though, oh, Mama Cindy, I didn't realize you were next. I was just trying to catch up with people who didn't answer the first time we called them. But that's why I said after this, we're going to just put people to the back because we're not used to having this many people. It's pretty amazing. Sorry about that. All right. So Vera, yeah, there are people that are taking advantage of you, that are not appreciating you, that are expecting you, because it's what you've basically always done, to just smile and put a good face on, put a brave face on, and go about your business and their business and everybody else's business, doing what you are told to do, or that you've been made to feel is absolutely your job and necessary. But at the end of the day, Vera, if you take a look around you at all of the things you do for so many people all of the time, again, we're talking about reciprocal energy, reciprocity. Who is giving it back and who isn't? Who's in a position where maybe they can't right now, but have before, or they would? and who is just taking. Who in your life could care less if you actually feel like doing something they want you to do? I'm sensing a theme tonight already, guys, where we are putting too much, okay? Too many other people, others' opinions before our own truth and our own wants and realities and what we're trying to manifest for ourselves. And again, self-care isn't selfish. It is not selfish to want to put yourself first. Vera Ray, you have way too many people feeding off of you right now, and your team wants to turn your attention to this because it's not going to get any better. You know, when we don't deal with or handle things at all and just pretend like things aren't happening, it never makes it better. And usually it doesn't make it go away. I hope you guys can still hear me. My little Wi-Fi arrow just popped up. Yeah, we're empaths. That's kind of what we do. They think your kindness means you're a pushover. And this isn't like exploding. I know you probably may want to. This is just about sticking up for yourself in a very matter-of-fact way. Like, oh, did I agree to do that? How much are you paying me again? Or, oh, did I agree to do that? I'm sorry to let you down, but I need to reschedule that. Or you're going to have to find someone else. And I'm not saying to do this to the people who are always there for you or who would never do it to you, but to the people who just take. Who cares? What, are they going to be mad at you? Oh, no, they won't talk to you and demand that you do things for them anymore. There's too much of this going on. There even comes a time when our children, if they're adults, can take too much. I'm certainly not suggesting, nor is your spirit team, that you blow off or abandon your kids. But what I'm saying is there comes a time where Vera has to put Vera's wants and needs first and Vera's feelings first. Even if all you want to do is lay in bed and like Netflix and chill. You have the right to do that. If it means your happiness, you have the right. Who's next? Miss Cindy? Okay. Again, Miss Cindy Lee, I'm so sorry about that. I didn't know who was next. I was just playing catch up.
Yeah, that's fine.
I didn't even think about it. Yeah, but it seems to always happen to Cindy. It happened like 3 times in a row now.
I know. Well, I tried to stop you, but...
I know. All right. Mama Cindy. Let's do the Vampire Oracle. You guys are so sweet. All the love and support all of the time. You guys are the actual best. I really, really do appreciate it. And Edna, absolutely. Edna says, when I feel like I am now, I hide in my cave until I feel better. Don't poke the bear. That's kind of what I've been doing the past like week and a half with, I mean, there was no real pressure, but I put all this pressure on myself. I've barely been talking to anyone. I haven't wanted to even open my computer to like write anything. I just all day, every day thought, got to get writing, got to get writing, got to get writing, got to get writing, and just wouldn't do it. I don't know. And I do that to myself. And now that, you know, I was told we're good to go. Don't worry about it. It was like this huge sigh of relief could be breathed. Yes, Miss Kira, I am obsessed with vampires. Always have been. So the video Monday is a members only, but I keep them public for 24 hours anyway. I wasn't able to do 2 this week. And that's the first time in a long time. And it is about the Slender Man, but it's not just one thing. It's like everything about the Slender Man. It's encounters. It's, you know, what could it be? And there's a lot to it. Kind of like my most recent Men in Black video. All right, Mama Cindy, I hope you're still here and listening, babe. Religion. Canon, rules, commandments. This is not to start a religious debate in the chat, guys. Please don't do that. You'll get me in trouble. The vampires speak. Religion has been through so much with you humans. We have watched it change moment to moment, it would seem. Every 1,000 years or so, your gods have changed, your faiths have changed, and people everywhere have died again and again for the rightness of all you say is right and true. We watch and wonder, for we too have this within us. The world in which we lived as humans has stamped us, marked us, and even now we find ourselves moved at the sight of the cross or drawn to a cathedral where countless pilgrims have worshipped. Miss Divine Empathic, thank you. That's so awesome. Yet we wonder at this thing called religion. For you have made vows not only in this life, as one of the many born, you are unlike us. You can recall the lives of long ago, and at times there are vows and structures you have carried with you from life to life. The tattered remnants of belief and the sharp knives of punishment follow you, lifetime after lifetime, and all the while you say, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. But you are religious. There's so much about you that is nun, monk, apostle, pilgrim, abbot, priest, shaman. Hey, Mike, monk life. You are and have been so much, so many things, and religion has been drunk in at your mother's breasts and formed so much of who you are. Become aware, we say, of this. No longer deny this, we ask, for you, unlike us, will be born again and again. And when you understand what it is this framework of understanding the world has given to you and what it has also stolen from you, you will come to a place where your own soul has room to breathe. For religion and religious beliefs may have given humanity purpose and survival strategies, but it has simultaneously suffocated the true expression of the soul. It is a vast form of black magic, and we have all dabbled in it. It's time to wash it clean, but first we must know what it is we have, what no longer helps us, and what we choose to believe and become from this day forth. Blessing, the structure and family feeling of revealed religions can feel safe and secure for many people. They can also harness great energies, which can be directed for good. There is also great beauty in the rites and rituals, history, and tradition. Curse, the need to adhere to strict beliefs means most souls will give their power away and their connection to the divine. Power concentrates in the hands of the few and can be abused. Learn more of the world's religions and begin to understand what has influenced your own life and your own culture, even your laws and the conditions under which you live. While this may sound exhausting, it will be helpful as you begin to understand the difference between personal ethics, faith, and connection, and a religion that was revealed to another and which you have been ordered, even indirectly, to make your own. Now it's time to examine your heart and say, this is mine. This is what I worship. This is what I love. So this is not talking about religion. If you want to go and look into other religions, Mama Cindy, that's perfectly fine. Miss Mandy, so am I. I don't even see Mama Cindy in here anymore. I feel like she might have actually gotten mad about the skip. Miss Moochie, this is one of my favorite decks, so that sucks. Okay, so what this is actually talking about is just like an acceptance of the divine, that there's something bigger, right? The universe, acknowledging that there's a bigger plan. No matter what religion you may or may not be, right? Whether you feel like you're religious or you're spiritual or whatever it is, it's just the acceptance that there is something more, which you've got to have because, or you should have, because you're in here asking for advice from your team, which includes your higher selves and angels and your guides and your whole team, right? From the other side that you charted your path, your life path with while y'all were all over there. So what this card is saying is get comfortable again in understanding that it's not all on you. Yes, a lot of this is preordained through your chart, but at the same time, free will can change anything in the matter of seconds, milliseconds. So what are you hoping to gain in your life? What are you hoping to become? And do you trust and understand that there's something bigger at play here? And I think you really thinking about that and understanding that the universe is always working for you and doing things for you, not to you, and that you are, to sound silly, the master of your own destiny. You can manifest whatever it is that you want for yourself in your life. I feel like you're losing sight of that or losing touch with that. Hey, mommy. Because maybe some things are happening in your life where it's like over and, this, and it's like one thing after another, like so many other people, that you may be giving up faith, whether that's religious faith or not. Mama Cindy, I hope to see you return to, realizing that there's something bigger and better out there, and that you are the master of whatever that is or is going to be. Osman, welcome. What's up, Mama? You found my stream without a link. Wow.
I'm impressed. Good
I bet
job,
Damien
Mom.
had something to do with that. Hello, Miss Pancake.
Next is Miss Pixie.
All right, Miss Pixie. Miss Pixie, I'm going to use Celebrity Spirit for you. Mom, I got all of the new decks you got me. Guardian Jackpot, I like to keep everything cheap and even keel for everybody. That's why even the members video, I keep them free and public for 24 hours because I know not everyone can afford it. And for me, it's more about, yes, of course, I definitely need the income, but it's more about getting my name out there and like my brand pushed out there to make my channel and my name grow more. And I'm working on other perks though. I am working on some things right now. Like I want to do members only live streams and things like that. But the issue is I don't have enough members. So if I put out a members only video, which I do at noon every Monday, I have to keep it public for at least 24 hours because otherwise I'll, if I have 15 members, I will only get 15 views and that's all I'm ever able to get unless someone watches it more than once, So when I get more members, I surely will have, more perks. Ghost Dragons, what's the matter? What happened? Yeah, Vera, I read an entire reading for you. This is your card.
We even skipped Cindy Lee because of that.
And I skipped Cindy to read for you when you came back in and she left the chat and got angry with me. So here's your card. Mm. Thank you, Miss Mandy. Yes. Not all of them are Gemma addicts. Some are just gemstones. I do have to work on that. I think when I opened memberships, I didn't expect to get any. So I didn't really pay attention to what I was doing. I was just like, yeah, I'll just put this out there. And then people actually became members. I don't even remember at this point who I'm reading for because everything just got so confusing.
It's Pixie.
Miss Pixie.
Yes.
Ozman, I'm so sorry, but I only speak English and that's all I can read too. Sorry. All right, Miss Pixie. Ooh, Elizabeth Taylor. Thank you, Pancakes. Card number 3. I pulled 3 cards for myself today, and I got Mae West, Amy Winehouse, and I don't remember who else did I get. Mae West, Amy Winehouse, and I don't know. I'm sure I'll figure it out later, but it was cool. They have some really good cards in here. All right, Miss Paranormal Pixie. Love yourself. You're worth it. So her task was lover, also enchantress, prima donna, and sensualist. Dame Elizabeth Rosamond Taylor was born on the 27th of February, 1932, and died on the 23rd of March, 2011. She was a British-American actor, business person, humanitarian, and a great legend of her time. She was a Pisces. She died of congestive heart failure at the age of 79. Elizabeth, also known as Liz, began her career as a child actor in the early 1940s and was one of the most popular stars of the 50s. She continued her career successfully into the 1960s and remained a well-known public figure for the rest of her life. Her most famous film to date is Cleopatra because of its expense to make, and she met Richard Burton on set, whom she married twice. Besides her business ventures, Liz was well known for her work with HIV/AIDS, being the first celebrity to speak out for this cause. She later set up the Foundation for AIDS Research, which has helped millions of people to date. The message: big girls need big diamonds. When Liz came through in the seance, she was very charming and witty and chatted for ages about her career, beloved children, pets, and charity work. She admitted to marrying many times as she believed in love, but Richard, as we all know, was her great love, but also her downfall as they were too similar. They were twin flames. When Liz brought up Larry, all the sitters giggled at her womanly charm and wit, as she mentioned mischievously how he was by far her best lover, as he had amazing hands in the bedroom. It is hard to say if this was indeed true, as it was tongue-in-cheek, so to speak, but Liz had us all spellbound. She came across as very sexy, ageless, beautiful soul, and in life she was the same, with amazing violet eyes and an entourage of people who truly loved her. Did she have violet eyes? When you receive this powerful card, Pixie, it's about awakening within, discovering your wholeness as a woman, or strengthening your feminine side of the divine you. It also implies accepting power and personal responsibility in your life to make the necessary changes in the world around you to create a space in your life for love. Now is not the time to let work or situations rule your life as you sit and watch others move on with their lives and leave you behind. It's your time to shine, to take control of your life, indulge in you, and radiate confidence, sensuality, and erotic energy that both attracts and arouses. When you allow yourself to fall in love with you, all your senses are heightened and you feel beautiful, powerful, and fully aware of your whole being. Miss Pixie, this is talking about that self-confidence. You know, I was talking to Ghost Dragons before the stream started about how just I love and adore Britney Spears. And one of the things I love most about her is because she seems oblivious to the fact that she's Britney Spears. She just doesn't get it. How famous she is, how big she is, what her name brings out in people, for good or bad. And I feel like you don't understand that about yourself. You don't understand your gifts, the gift that you give people just by being authentically who you are. You don't have to pretend at all. You can just be Lara. You can just be Miss Pixie. And that's enough. And if it's not enough for someone, then that person is they're not your people. And that's okay. That's one of the things that was the hardest for me to learn on YouTube, is that I'm not for everybody. You know, a people pleaser, an empath, a light worker. I want everyone to like me all the time. And it's just not possible. Even people that love you don't like you all the time. Right? We get angry. We get annoyed. We get frustrated. And that's okay. And it's okay to be all those things towards yourself sometimes. But you, Lara, need to get to this point. And this is not me telling you this, but I'm glad your team is speaking up. You need to get to the point where you understand that you are as Lara as you can be. And you're perfectly okay with that. The good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful. Do you read your comments for the show you do twice a month on this channel? They're all amazing. I don't remove any. Ghost Dragons doesn't remove any. It's like 100, it is 100% across the board. People who watch you love you because they see that in you. And I understand that you've had a lot in your life, just like many of us have, of being taken for granted, being bullied, picked on, picked at, criticized, right? So it's hard for you to accept that you're more than enough. And you have something huge, major, beautiful to offer. You are a blessing. And this is your team being like, honey, this should be how you feel about yourself on the inside. Not cocky or arrogance, but self-assured and beautiful and lovely and wonderful and helpful and smart. I feel like your team just wants you to give yourself more credit, to give yourself more respect and more recognition, whether or not you're getting it from anyone else. Validate yourself and your worth. In the next week or two, every single day, if possible, look in the mirror and tell yourself how amazing you are. Nobody's going to hear you. Tell yourself all of your favorite things about yourself. There's no need for embarrassment because it's just you and your team. And the more you speak those things into reality and speak them to existence, the more you'll start to feel them and the more confident you'll become. It took me a really long time too, but I'm comfortable with where I'm at. If someone doesn't like me, that's great. You know, it sucks, but that's great. Just move on, you know, and if people feel the need to bully me, I either have Ghost Dragons remove the comment so I don't dwell on it, or I remove the comment and just block the person. You know, that was always hard for me to do. I always wanted to either say something back to them or try to prove to them that I'm worth liking, especially on the internet. We can't do it. And I do feel like that is what's going on with you with not only YouTube, but other areas of your life. You don't need outside validation. So, yeah, Heather, you can be a subscriber and a member. And the membership, you get extra videos. And as I get more members, there's going to be perks like members readings, members only live streams. There's going to be a lot more that's coming for members once I get enough members to be able to do those things. But for now, there's an extra video that goes out every Monday for members. And I was thinking of doing something like putting, doing a group like this, like for just a stream like this, like for just members, maybe twice a month so that you guys can come in and get an extra 1 card pull or something like that. Mike's on a date and now he's running off. Well, it isn't me, but if I could remind you, I would be reminding you of all those things. You're very welcome. Who's next? I feel so bad Cindy left. That really sucks.
Well, we'll talk about that later. Anyways, Blue's next.
I don't want to leave my mom waiting too long, but I also don't want to skip anyone and have them running off.
Okay, let's do this. Okay, Blue is next, then Mark. I haven't called the name after that, so
Okay.
after Mark, we'll do Mom. Because
All
I know
right,
Mom,
Blue
she
Crossroads.
went to bed early and everything.
I'm going to use Signs of the Times. Thank you, Mark. You're so sweet. Ghost Dragon will flame them. Yeah, I think, you know, I always say it, and it's so true. I got it off a meme. Everybody is the a-hole in someone's story. There are people out there that absolutely hate my guts because they don't know me now. They know me 10 years ago, 20 years ago. People can hold a grudge, you know? All right, Blue. Power lines, card of energy. Card number 36. Energy constantly flows through power lines and provides a vital resource that is easy to take for granted. It's just there. Think of your energy in the same way as it runs through your body. It's important to take note of how you feel and where you are energetically. Do you feel tired, overactive? This could be a sign of an imbalance that could easily lead to burnout and a loss of your own power. On the other hand, proper rest and energy work can balance and recharge you. I talked about this today with you a little bit with being balanced and making sure you are energetically aware of what's going on around you. This card is also a reminder that energy is ever present and connects all of us. Surround yourself with those who complement and reciprocate your energy. You may also be a source of empowerment for others, which can lead to fulfilling connections. Energy is tricky, so what you may be feeling may not be your own. It's important to check in with yourself to be able to make that distinction. Follow the flow as it crisscrosses your body like power lines through a city block or on a country road. Additional meanings: beware of burnout. Look into energy healing, mood swings, and energy boost. So, Blue, yeah, I feel like now that you've had this reading, not this one, but like the other one, it's like putting this in your head of like this anxiety a little bit. And I never want my readings to do that. Even though like, it wasn't like the happiest, everything's going to come up roses for you in March type reading. But remember that we all have the power to make of our lives what we want our lives to be. It's just that, unfortunately, the creator or the universe, God, whatever you call your own higher power, the timeline is a little bit different. Whereas it's like 5 years for us and it's a millisecond to them. So to them, it's like, oh, it's not that long. And to us, we're like struggling through this. This is just a reminder to watch who you have around you. Watch the spaces you enter and who you allow into your space. And be mindful of that in the next week or two, and especially going forward into March. This is a continuation of your earlier reading, okay? It's not that there's something bad going on. It's just that you need to be hyper aware right now of what you're feeling and what you're taking on. That way, you're not distracted by picking up someone else's stuff and you end up making a bad decision either by mistake or simply because you're not as cognizant as you normally are. You're not as on point because you're distracted. And then you end up paying for it later when things could be going so much smoother, like everything's smooth sailing for the most part, but you weren't aware of how to detect your own energy and what you're picking up from others. It's okay to offer an ear or a shoulder to cry on, okay? It's okay to be there for somebody in any way they need if you feel that person's worth it. But when it becomes not okay is when you start losing part of yourself, when you get yourself to a place where you no longer, like if being there for someone, like I love doing this stream and I love being there for people and I love making people happy and I love how people feel when they're in this stream, when they leave this stream, when people message me and say, you know what, Gemma, I was going to use today. I came across one of your videos talking about addiction or talking about, you know, what you've gone through in your life. And I didn't. I stayed home and cried myself to sleep listening to you instead. I love that. But if I ever get to the point where I feel bogged down by it and I feel like it's too much, that's when I go like 2 months without checking email. That's when instead of texting you back that same day, even if it's short text, I'll wait 3 weeks if it's someone I talk to every day or regularly. And I went through a week like that this week. I was just feeling very pressured and anxious and I didn't have a good outlet. So I shut down and played a whole lot of Fortnite by myself and did my own thing. And I had a lot of people ask me like, hey, are you okay? Because normally you would have gotten back to me by now. And I'm like, no, I'm fine. I just don't let it become a job. Don't let caring for people and helping people and taking care of people become another job. Unless the reciprocity, the energetic payment is worth it for you. Whatever in your life right now is becoming not really worth it anymore, don't drop it immediately, but reevaluate. There could be some things that you could let go of to allow room for something more to come in. Mom, I've used it like 4 times already tonight. Mom, do you want celebrity spirit or horror?
Give her the horror. And thank you, Mark.
Yes, thank you, Mark. All right, Steven chose horror for you.
Is that okay, Mom? If not, yell at me now. You can hold my cup of coffee while you beat me.
Guardian Jack's not good.
I was right.
I don't know. That Freddie Mercury card had her name on it.
I know.
And I know a lot of us are going through that right now. I haven't even like usually I at least go to the grocery store. My mother's house is the only place besides my own home where I feel safe right now. That's why I never go anywhere else. Do you guys ever hear me being like, oh, I'm going to go here on Tuesday? And then no, like I'm either home or at my mother's. That's it.
Look at private chat real quick when you get a chance too. No rush. Just look at private chat when you get a chance.
Well, now I've got to look. Okay. Well, any people that come in just to be smart Alex will be put in timeout. No warnings because everyone should know better. This is YouTube. It's been around forever. And if they continue that type of behavior, we will just block them from the channel or hide them from the channel. But I always stick with this, guys. Don't ever acknowledge a troll in here. Yeah. We don't acknowledge them. We just timeout block or just plain block report because the acknowledgement is what they come in for. You know, that's why people can come in and say the most horrible thing, but you will not see Steven or I react. We just click.
And a lot of times if you ignore them, they just leave.
Yeah, that's, yeah. Or they come in, say their piece, and by the time you react, they're gone anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like no more chances with things like that because it can get me in a lot of trouble. And I work too hard for someone to do something like that to me. All right, Mama, let's see. We put them back under their bridge. That's for sure. Mark, I did get your text today. I haven't even opened it, but I did keep it. All right, Mom, you got the family card. Hereditary. You know you were her favorite, right? Every family has its favorites, and the hopes and expectations of older generations are often invested in the young. These designs can be made explicit as if presented by a diorama. So the name of this movie is Hereditary. I don't think any of us most of us have heard of this.
I've seen it. It's a good movie.
Our actions may be driven by a more secretive ritual, nature or nurture. It can be difficult to disentangle our own agency from the influence of kin. A crowning achievement can bring its own heavy responsibility. So, Mom, this is talking about you being well and okay with doing your own thing. And I've watched you over the past few years really come into your own with this. You are unapologetically yourself. You're still sweet, you're kind, you'll help anyone, like to a point where I get agitated with it sometimes because you do so much for people who don't do anything for you. But I do hear you say a lot, not anymore. I'm not doing that anymore. And you follow through with it. This is talking about breaking those types of generational curses where we feel like just because someone has the same blood as us or is in our bloodline, we have to drop everything to help them, be there for them, and sacrifice for them. What if they're not doing anything for you? And I'm not talking about selfishly always expecting something in return, but I'm talking about, again, energetic reciprocity. Okay. So coming to a point where you are perfectly okay with not doing for people who don't do for you. I feel like this was a struggle because one of your love languages is giving. And a lot of people in our family are not like that, right? Their love language is taking. And I've watched you come into this part of yourself where you're strong, you're independent, you've got this, and you're not as worried how it's going to look to someone outside of the situation. You're good with your own innate and inner knowledge of the decisions you make. You're not looking for outside validation anymore. And I'm really proud of you for that. And that's what this is talking about. So in the next week or two, if somebody who has no business questioning your motives, your decisions, or anything else about your life and the way you're living it, decides they want to do that, you have the right to put them in their place in a kind way and just be like, listen, I don't really think that's any of your business. Or I have my reasons. Don't fall back into the trap of feeling that you have to explain yourself to someone because they feel like you owe them an explanation, if that makes sense. Now is the time for kind of, I don't want to say cutting people off, but not giving people the idea that they have any right over you and your decisions and the things that you say and the things that you do and the things that you decide for you and for the people who are important to you. For some reason, this coming up could mean there could be a little rift with someone you're close to in the family. I don't think it's going to be anything big, but I do think you're going to have to tell someone to like back off, that they're getting too involved in something that they have no business being involved in. And that's okay. Say it with love. Mind over matter. Those who mind don't matter. Those who matter don't mind. If somebody really loves you and are supposed to be in your life, they'll understand that they upset you. They'll apologize and you guys can move on. Or they'll say, F you, you guys won't talk anymore. And then you don't need them in your life anyway because they're acting like a garbage person. And I finally am watching you come to the acceptance of that when things like that happen, instead of kind of like blaming yourself for this ridiculousness, getting better at it. I just like making you guys happy. Yeah, but focusing on the people that enjoy making you happy. We've talked about this a lot in the past few months, right? Of like not getting sucked back into, well, because this person is, this relation to me, I have to do this for them. Or because this person is this person to me, I should not be doing that for them. it's a case-by-case basis. How do people treat you? How do you feel around people? And who do you trust in your energy? And if you don't, you don't. And that is okay. And I'm glad this card kind of came up because I feel like you are going to need to say it. Like, my business is mine. I appreciate your concern, but let's move on from this. And if they can't, they can't, and it's on them. Yes, Miss Mandy, mic drop. Boom, just like that, Aunt Edna. All right, Mark, I am using the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. I know you trust me, but I've earned that trust. I know that I have, and it took me a long time to earn that trust with you, but I wanted it bad enough that I work at it. And now you're my best friend in the world, and I couldn't imagine my life without you. I couldn't imagine going a week without speaking to you. But we've worked at that. Do you know what I mean? Because it was worth it for both of us to put the effort in and to give a little for the other person. Where some people, you can give and give and give, and they are not going to give an inch back. They're just going to take and take and take. Miss Lindsay, hello, Nicole Perrone.
And Mom,
I
I
love you,
promised I'll call.
What?
I said I promised Mom I'd call, and I've been all distracted.
She's got
now
so much
she's
going
gonna yell
on
at
too.
me. Yeah.
No, she's got so much going on too.
I know.
All right, Mark. Remember, this is talking about like planetary positions in your chart. So this may not be like if you get Jupiter in Pisces, your Jupiter may not be in Pisces, but that is the energy that's coming in for you in the next week or two. Full house tonight. I'm really loving it. This deck was a gift from Miss Aunt Edna with my Moldavite earrings. I left them on the charger for like 2 weeks. You've got to see the brightness of the green of those earrings. People don't realize if you take a piece of jewelry that's been like overused and you put it on a selenite charger and leave it, every single day it'll get either brighter or darker depending on what it's actually supposed to look like. Those earrings are supercharged. I was afraid to wear them today with the necklace because I was like, oh, last time I did that, I almost wanted to go for a run. Mom said she's still waiting, Steven. All right, Mark, you got Moon in Aquarius, and it is the card of independence. Sorry, guys, I need my nicotine. I've given up everything else. All right, Mark. Moon Aquarians require complete freedom. My husband is an Aquarian moon, by the way. Require complete freedom of expression for their feelings, coming and going as they please, physically and emotionally. Often, Aquarians are stubborn or just perverse when others get a little too close and clingy. Miss Smoochie, you're a sun Aquarian. My sister Carol, too. They switch emotions quickly from friend to mood to mood. Friendship on a broad level keeps Moon Aquarians emotionally high. This means plenty of friends, plenty of new contacts, and a great deal of conversation. Lasting friendships with women are more than usually important for people with this aspect, reflecting the feminine moon placed in the sign. The Aquarian desire for constant contact with others is valued in order to exchange, form, and reform ideas, the bond being more usually with the mind than with the heart. This card describes someone whose feelings and emotions tend to be rationalized and thought over interminably. Moon Aquarius is also traditionally a planet sign combination that indicates an astrologer. Often when this card occurs in a reading, it shows that the person asking the question is trapped in a mental whirlwind. It indicates a need to let go of emotions and to allow feelings to express themselves without rationalizing them. It also suggests that the questioner's home will be used in the future for group meetings with some kind of good cause or humanitarian subject. Some kind of unconventional assistance, original ideas brought to bear on a situation or a subject, a second opinion canvassed, an interest in astrology. So, Mark, while your interest isn't only in astrology, you have come into your own in several areas of the supernatural or otherworldly field. I was telling you about a week or two ago how proud I am of you, of your progress in your chosen field in this kind of realm of what we deal with on here. And Mark, I feel like what this card is saying is make sure that you're actively expressing yourself regardless of what the feelings are. I've been saying this card after card after card tonight. Don't hold back for fear of how someone else is going to take it. You are a good enough, kind enough person, empathic enough to understand when you're being hurtful and when you're just being honest. And we can always be honest in a kind and uncruel way. Don't go with the flow in the next week or two. Don't be purposefully difficult, but if you have an issue with something, speak up. I feel like people are more willing to listen to you now more than ever in at least one area. So if you're thinking something outside of the box or different than everybody else, or if you changed your mind about an idea or a plan, now is the time for you to speak up before things go too far and there is no turning back, when really what you had to add could have been amazing and changed things to a much higher degree. Don't keep silent in the next week or two specifically, Mark. Make sure your ideas are heard. Share your ideas without overthinking them first and without rationalizing them. Even if something sounds completely crazy, as long as it's not hurting anybody, being cruel or unkind to anybody, you're good. Open up. Let people see this side of you that's more individualistic and opinionated than normal. It's only going to work out well for you. I'm sorry I have to keep blowing my nose, guys. I have the window open.
Okay, you ready? Schmooty, schmooty.
I'm going to use Queen Mabe, Miss Smoochie. Good, Mark. And, you know, even if someone doesn't agree with all of your opinions, there are several people in here that I clash with on opinions about many different things. But when we're in here, this is a shared experience. This is something we find common ground on, and we're great friends. There's at least a handful of people in here that outside we talk sometimes, but we don't talk about too much because we know that we have different ideas. But in here, we get along because we can at least respect that the other person has something important to say and may have good ideas that we had never thought of before. It's just about being willing to listen. How to Visit in the Void by Tesla and Einstein. Now that would be something I would like to hear about. Netter, what's up? Yeah, just a little, Smoochie. But I think we've learned that about one another, you know, and we're still here. All right. The Falcon's Flight. Miss Grey Wolf, thank you so much. And let's not forget, Miss Grey Wolf is on a later schedule. So, Lindsay, if you have to leave early, let us know. But we just got to make sure that we check it with the next person. I cannot believe she left. One mouth and two ears for reasons. Yes, we avoid those subjects. All right, girl. Cultivate or claim your mastery. Artful mastery is vital to your present moment experience. There are two possibilities here. The first is that you have spent much focus and many long hours mastering a skill of some kind, either spiritual, practical, artistic, emotional, or career related, that it will benefit you to draw upon now. The second is that it will bring you great joy, satisfaction, and success to commit wholeheartedly to a particular discipline or practice, to start where you are and begin working toward greater and greater competency and skill. Reflect for a moment and decide which of these two possibilities is most accurate for you right now. If you have already achieved a significant degree of mastery in some important area, you will thrive if you put this mastery to good use. Have you fully recognized and acknowledged how hard you've worked and how far you've come? If not, do so now. All your hard work has not been for nothing. While you will likely continue to learn and hone your abilities throughout the rest of your lifetime, the fact remains that you've succeeded in what you set out to do, which was to become an expert at a chosen craft. So choose now to own and claim your prowess. Wield the prowess with confidence, and you will bring about the conditions you desire. On the other hand, if you believe it's time for you to channel your hard work and determination toward future mastery, what form will that mastery take? Relaxing, playing, experimenting, and enjoying the journey of life are all lovely and important pursuits. But now it's time for you to choose a clear direction and go all in. Once you know what you're committing to, create structure. Decide when you will practice, how often, and what you will do when you practice. Find teachers or mentors you trust. Adopt habits that support your ultimate aim. Look for role models and study those who have walked this path before you. Becoming an expert at something by its very definition isn't easy. It takes time, focus, and diligent effort, but hard-won excellence, proficiency that goes beyond the pale, feels like nothing else on this earth. While at times it can admittedly feel like a slog, at other times it can give you a sense of transcendence. As if you are flying, as if you are divine, as if nothing in the world can ever stop you. You are ready. So step on the path to mastery or be the master you already are. So all I kept thinking about was my mentor saying to me, be proficient and don't ever take advice from someone whose life you don't want or who doesn't have something you want. Right? So why are you not acknowledging how amazing you are in certain areas? And all of us do this, not a judgment, not an indictment, right? It's just about, why do we always focus on the negative? I beat myself up for 25 days over a book I could have easily written in 2 because it was just putting other people's encounters together. But I told myself, no one wants to read this. Everyone thinks I'm writing these books too fast. I can't do this. Nobody wants another book like this. The market is saturated. What was I doing? I was refusing to acknowledge that I could have easily done it. I was talking myself out of it. And I feel like you are talking yourself out of it by only focusing on your negative traits or something negative that happened instead of looking around at all of the positive in this one area, not in general in your life, but that seems to be a running theme with light workers as well, where we only focus on the negative about what in our life instead of focusing on the positive. Are you in the field you intend to be in for the foreseeable future? Or is there something else you'd like to be doing? The universe is saying, if there's something else you'd like to be doing, start right now by finding someone you either know or someone online or watching freaking tutorials. It doesn't matter. Find someone who has what you want, find out how they got it, and then go get it and succeed. If you are already there to a point where you're like, this is what I want to do, this is what I've accomplished, I'm good here, keep going. There's always more to learn. There's always more to be gained. In group, once a month when I go to my doctor, we're required to go to a kind of therapy group session thing. And they ask every time, how are you feeling on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best you've ever felt and 1 being the absolute lowest. And I always say 9 because there's always room for improvement, because I could be having the best day ever, but something even better can happen. And that's kind of what this is talking about. Not really about how you're feeling, but about what you're doing. Even if you feel like you're the best you can possibly be, you're not. There's still more. None of us achieves everything we're going to achieve in life until we pass away. That's when our last chance is to grow and learn and thrive and become. Give yourself credit, Smoochie. Even sarcastically, like I always say things like, I am a hot mess. No, like you can't say that out loud, because then you're putting it, even jokingly, I'm putting it out there into the universe that I am indeed a hot mess. And then my life and my career and my work and everything I'm trying to do reflects being a hot mess. I know it's a hard concept to grasp, especially for women of a certain age. You know, my generation, our generation, we grew up where like it was conceited to say something nice about yourself. That's just not how it is anymore. And it never should have been that. Give yourself more credit. Give yourself more time and attention. I hope it's something fabulous, Smoochie. Yes, Mr. Ghostdragonzw. Hey, football cat.
Yes, Andrew, that's only like 20 minutes away from me. It's just on the other side, 270. Anyways, so next is
Miss Paranormal Pixie says, I often find messages that I need to hear in other readings. Yes. And thank you for saying the same thing. Yeah, because a lot of people, like if I have 40 people in here tonight, within 3 days, I'll have over 100, and usually it tops out between 200 and 300. That's because people like to come back and just listen, because 95% of the messages we can all relate to. And that's the great thing about this stream. If you pick up something or hear something that is for someone else's reading and it resonates with you, by all means, take that advice. Take it and run with it. Heal with it.
Yes. Dear
That's
Edna
right,
is next.
And
now, I was just saying, Kara, that you like to listen to all the other readings too, because you pick stuff out of that you need. You're coming up there here pretty soon.
And I'm going to use the Fairy Forest. Miss Mandy, yes, thank you. Beautifully chaotic hotness. You just got to make it sound better. There was a time when I was a real hot mess. Trust me, I think about that and I'm like, wow, I'm nothing like that anymore. You know, but I needed that to learn and grow and become who I am now. Usually not. But that's the thing. Sometimes if our energy is in a certain spot and like we're not vibrating too high, even joking about it can really bring us down even more. And we don't realize it. All right, and I go back and listen and take the readings because I have a really hard time reading for myself. Like I'll read what the book says, but like the channeling just doesn't happen when I read for myself. So I go back and listen and I take the messages for what they are for me too. Somebody got this last week. And the Yule Singer, Rebirth, Feasting, and Joy, card number 36. There are times in life when our light dims so that it seems it may go out for all eternity. But when this time comes, you are being put to a great test. And Edna, if you persevere at this time, you will experience a depth of life experience that will lead you to be reshaped, transformed, and in many ways changed. You are undergoing such an experience at present. And this card is here to share with you that such a time of great darkness and suffering, and that at such a time of great darkness and suffering, a new light will shine and bring you back to life, a kind of reincarnation within the same life you are now experiencing. When this takes place, the Yule Singer will come to you and sing to you the song of your deepest self. You will open up with this song and begin to live again. The pain will dissolve slowly, and surely you will enter into a time of joy and light while the flame of your spirit rises high once again within your soul. Expect new friendships, easy connections, fortunate moments, and growth when this beautiful card comes to you. The dark times are done with for now. You are stronger, brighter, and beginning once again a bright new cycle. Sing your song. So, Anna, yes, so many tests will you ever pass. And we have several spiritual awakenings throughout our life, right? So we don't just have one and then everything's great for the rest of our days. It just doesn't work that way, unfortunately. And I think a lot of people on the outside think that that's how this works. Like you come into the stream, you get a few readings, you grow a little bit spiritually, play around with some crystals, and voila, your life is grand. It's just not how it works. We have ups and downs. We're energetic beings. And then all of this mess and pain and stuff, poop that you've been going through, especially physically, but emotionally, mentally, psychically, spiritually as well, in the past few months or longer, is really reshaping your soul. While you may feel that you've lost a lot or that you're losing a lot, what's actually happening is you're regaining soul pieces. You're becoming stronger, more vibrant, just in a different way. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. And coming out of the dark night of the soul, as you will be in the next month or two, I'd say by summer, you should be doing way better in all of those areas. It's about the lessons learned. Are you going to repeat the same mistakes, or are you going to really think it through without overthinking before making those same types of decisions again? Are you making room for out with the old and in with the new in your life in all areas? Are you seriously looking within? For every single issue in your life, every hardship you're having, every trying time, every tear you cry, every scream you rage, are you first looking inside to see the part you played? This is a really intense channeled message that's coming through that I don't even know if it has anything to do with the card, but this is your team asking you these questions. And once you can say yes, truly, to all of this, that's when you're going to be ready to move forward and move upward energetically and get out of this heck that you're in. Yeah, beautiful cards. Good, Anna.
Sorry, I was choking on my pretzel. Nut slap. You still here, right, Nut slap?
I think he is.
Yeah, I think he sticks his nose in and makes a comment, then disappears. Oh, excuse me.
Good night, Blue. I definitely will. I always check them right after stream once I'm in bed. Nutslap, I'm using the Path of Shadows. It's my other new deck. The message on the card is short, but hopefully I can channel something a little longer for you. Overthinking, Nutslap. Each thought a labyrinth, endless, obscure. There is no peace amidst this self-imposed torture. Why are you doing this to yourself? Nutslap, what this card is talking about is like you instinctually, like primally and innately know the answer to most of the questions that you have, and yet you second guess. You seek outside validation. Not in like, you know, do these jeans make me look fat type way, but like you know that someone maybe isn't a good person deep down inside, but you decide to date them anyway because everyone else says that they're nice. It's ignoring what you know to be true, ignoring what you know is right in front of you and talking yourself out of something good or talking yourself into something bad. And I feel like this is becoming habit with you where you know better. You know what to say and what to do most of the time, but you end up backing down and or talking yourself out of it, whatever it is, to preserve someone else's feelings or to not have to deal with a little bit of uncomfortability or maybe a huge fallout or whatever the case may be. You are stifling yourself by keeping everything bottled up inside. And when everything is bouncing around in here all the time, there's no actual physical, spiritual, psychic emotion or expression is a better word. Where's it going? Into your energetic imprint, and it's lowering your vibration. In the next week or two, when you're about to make a decision, don't overthink it. Don't think twice. It's like just follow your instinct, your intuition. What your guides are telling you is right and true in the moment. They always say, go with your first choice. Like if you're taking a test, go with your first choice. Your initial instinct is almost always right. And if you end up going with your initial instinct and it ends up being a wrong decision or you did something wrong, you're going to learn a major lesson from that and it's going to be okay anyway. There is no way to go wrong following your gut. And Nutslap, for you in the next week or two specifically, that is going to be a really big lesson you're going to have to learn, because you are going to take so much opportunity and so many other things away from yourself by second guessing what you already know. Don't dumb yourself down. Don't dim your light. Don't put yourself out of the game so that someone less qualified or who doesn't know any better can be in it. It's your time to shine in your own light. Who's next?
Next is Roger Blair. Are you still here, sir?
I think he is, but let's see.
Yep, he's here.
All right. I'm using the classic horror.
Thank you, Roger.
John P. Adventures and Madison Teague. If you're still here, let us know now. I'm just shuffling in my lap. These cards are large rectangles instead of small squares. They're harder to shuffle. Don't sassy or squatch. Roger, you got the card of water. The Creature from the Black Lagoon, 1954. We've just begun to learn about the water and its secrets. Are people intruding on your personal space like an invasive species? Is your long-established sense of comfort and equilibrium being disturbed by interlopers who don't understand the disruption they bring? Roger, thriving in your own environment can depend on being able to ignore distractions, even enticing ones that risk muddying the home waters. Focus on your established routines. Okay. So in the next week or two, Roger, it's super duper important that you do not allow yourself to become distracted. I do feel like you're looking for more either in life in general or in a specific area, and you're intent on getting it. You're discontent in a lot of ways, in a lot of areas, even if some other areas seem very perfect and like they're lacking in nothing. Here's the thing. Sometimes we can become overwhelmed with the to-do list. In order to achieve this amount of success in this area of life, we have to do all of this. Check, 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 all the boxes. But there's always going to be more boxes to check. The key is allowing yourself not to rush through things, but also not to become distracted. I feel like there is somebody very close to you, especially in the next week or two, that is trying to distract you from a goal for a very selfish reason. It's like they don't want you to achieve this because I don't know. They either like they're afraid they're going to lose you, or they're jealous of you, or they simply don't want to see you succeed. Having people wishing things like a lack of success on us, it's not good. It's really bad for our energy, because while you can manifest the best for yourself and for others, you can also manifest bad things. It depends on how many people like this you have in your life. That's why we need to try to not surround ourselves with people like this as little as possible. Roger, I don't know who this is, who these people are, who this person is, but don't allow yourself to be talked out of something. Like I told Nutslap, only this is other people or another person trying to kind of lure you away from something that you should be doing. And it's going to end up being to your detriment if you don't stay focused, stand firm in what you know you need to do for you. It's okay to put yourself first. Everyone say it with me. Self-care is not selfish. It is actually the most selfless thing you can do for yourself and the people you love, because when your cup is full, you're able to give more to others and do more for others.
Yay.
Madison Teague, last call. John P. Adventures. Oh, there he is.
He passed. He passed.
Okay. Oh, he passed? Okay.
Yes, he passed. So go ahead. You want to do Lotus now? You want to save her for later?
I'll do Lotus's real quick. I've been waiting to use Celebrity Spirit for her.
Okay.
Ooh, like Fig Newtons. I hate Fig Newtons. A cookie is just a cookie. I'm trying to think of that dang third card I pulled for myself. Mae West, Amy Winehouse, and who else? James Dean, Lotus Girl. Don't try, do. Don't try, do it. Card number 33. Bruce Lee. That was the other one I pulled for myself. All right, Miss Lotus Girl, Outlaw, also Rebel, Misfit, Daredevil. You like that movie? I've never seen it. You're welcome, Roger. Thank you. Sounds like Yoda. Ooh, really, football cat? Lotus, James Byron Dean was born on the 8th of February, 1931, and died in a car accident on the 30th of September, 1955. James was an Aquarius. He was an American actor born in Marion, Indiana, and is remembered as a cultural icon of teenage disillusionment and social estrangement due to his most celebrated film, Rebel Without a Cause. After his death, he received an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. James Dean studied at the prestigious Actors Studio, which was considered one of the greatest schools of theater. He then went on in his short career to work in television and later in movies. It said he also had an influence on the development of rock and roll because he was the first iconic figure of youthful rebellion. The message, dream as if you'll live forever, live as if you'll die today. When I tuned into James's spirit, I felt as if he had lived a big and long life, which is unusual for somebody who has died young. I want to do an oracle deck of like famous murder victims or famous serial killer, like Jack the Ripper, the Black Dahlia. I don't know why that just popped into my head. I can only assume he learned a lot in a small amount of time. He came across as gentle, complex, reserved, and a deep thinker, which I felt he must have been when alive. I had the impression he played the part that people wanted him to be. James Dean had a strong spirit, and I felt he was determined and calculating, and he knew exactly what he wanted and probably thought deeply before making too many commitments. I also had the impression his life was like a game, and he was quite amused by how far he had come, and he knew the right people to befriend. When we asked him about his love life, he was very secretive, but he said he had a lot of crushes on people whom he liked to study. We all had the impression James was always trying to better himself, as he told us he was determined to make an impression and climb up the ladder of fame. If you have chosen this card, Lotus Girl, it's telling you it's time to break out of your old behaviors and patterns. Have you been feeling stuck in your life, not able to move forward, or worried about what everybody thinks of you? Now is the time to make your own decisions and learn to trust yourself, as you are going through an enormous growth period in your life at every level, spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally, and psychically too. No longer will you want to be where you are now because you are breaking away from the old tribal mentality and changes upon you. Trust in the process, as this is an exciting part of your life for development. So, Tennille, we've been talking about this for at least 18 months, 2 years tops, maybe even a little bit more, where it's like one thing after another, after another, after another. And as soon as you take a breath from this thing, that thing makes you go like this again. And that's because this is a major awakening you're coming into. And I feel like once you're through this, it's like you're taking no prisoners, you're taking names. Like you have just had enough to the point where nobody's going to be able to tell you anything anymore. Lotus Girl, I feel like once you finally get through this, and in the next week or two, there are going to be major strides taken where I feel like thoughts and instinctual hits are going to be coming to you randomly, seemingly out of nowhere, for you to, like, these new ideas of how to work through all of these major instances that are happening to you right now, these seemingly negative, but that will be positive in the long term things that are happening to you and that have been for so long. I feel like you're going to be getting rid of people, places, and things that no longer serve you for real, stepping into your power and looking inward to see what you need to change. I feel like a lot of your physical illness right now is just being bogged down by giving too much energetically of yourself to others because you love the people around you and you want them to be okay. But there's only so much of yourself you can give before you start to lack. And it no longer really helps the other person anyway. So if you find yourself giving and giving and giving and giving and giving and giving, and someone else, no matter who they are, is just taking and taking and taking, it's time to think of a new solution. And I feel like once you figure out all of the new solutions for the problems that you can, what's left, what you can't figure out is going to be very small compared to what you feel like you're dealing with now. Pay very close attention to your dreams, to instinctual or instinctive or intuitive, I guess is the word, hits, random ones specifically, and also pay attention to visitation from spirit. If you feel like you're being given a message from a spirit that's around you, you are. Don't second guess it. Don't second guess any spiritual advice that comes in if the advice is coming from a spiritual source, okay? Meaning a non-living entity. You've come so far, you only have a little bit longer to go. The main issue I see, though, is you giving away a lot of yourself to people who just either don't deserve it or who are supposed to learn things on their own. So all of the help you're giving doesn't seem to be working, and that's because you're just delaying their process. And I know that can be a really hard thing to come to grips with and to come to terms with, because we want to help the people we love. We want to make things less painful for them. But sometimes we end up inadvertently making things more painful because we keep them from being able to learn the lessons that they need to learn. Who's next?
Andrew.
Nomeo. Okay, so it's going to be Nomeo, Miss Kira, Mike Roberts. Let us know if you're still here, please. Yes, Kira, that is exactly it. You did find it because you're supposed to hear it. People come in here all the time accidentally, like they clicked on a different video and ended up here somehow, or they came in to troll me but listened for a minute before they did, or whatever the case may be. It happens all the time. A lot of people in here have found this stream by accident. I've been doing this exact stream for like 3 years now. Every week I can count on one hand the number of weeks I've missed. All right, Andrew, I'm using the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. You got Mars in, I believe that's Aries, but I'm going to have to look. I thought I read Mars in Aries already. Hold on a minute. It's because they show me these teeny tiny little symbols and I'm not sure what they mean. Mars in Aries. Okay, so I was saying before my Mars is in Aries. This would be my energy all the time. For you, Nomeo, this is the energy that's coming in for you in the next week or two. Mars is the ruling planet for Aries, and so here it sits in its natural fiery element. This planet sign combination describes people who are energetic and impulsive in their every single action. They feel a need to get things done, and this leads them to start numerous new projects. Acting before thinking inevitably leads to disasters, but these Martians are resilient and wins always predominate over losses. People described by this card are somewhat competitive and display a need to be seen in a leading position. Basically, they are outgoing and feel more comfortable at the front as far as group endeavors. These Martians are natural leaders and take on this role within any situation which requires positive action. Mars Aries people take great pride in their abilities and are not happy unless they do more and quicker than anyone else. There is, however, a belligerence in the Mars Aries nature that can go over the top, and these characters may ride roughshod over other people in order to get their own way. I've learned that about myself, and that is something that I work on and have struggled with in the past, where it's like, I care about others, but I need to make it to the top first. And that's not a good way to be. It's not a very spiritual way of being. Mars Aries personalities are at their best when they realize through experience that their potential for power works a great deal more effectively when they exert discrete control. When this card is drawn, Nomeo, in a reading, it shows that some kind of physical and or competitive action is necessary for the well-being of the person asking the question. That's you. Good night, Miss Grey Wolf. A challenge that requires courage, proving oneself by tackling the unknown, acting on impulse in a sudden situation, leading others with enthusiasm into a new venture. Yeah, so Andrew, this is about really taking charge of something. So there's something coming up, a group endeavor, something that needs to be planned, something you're asked to do at or with work. Somebody is coming to you, needing you to do something. But it's not like just something for them. It's like, your boss wanting you to run point on a project, or it's something, I don't want to say it's definitely work related, but it probably is. You may feel uncomfortable about stepping into a leadership role or having to work in a group setting. Do it anyway. Take this opportunity to learn what you need to learn for your spiritual and energetic elevation. But at the same time, the test is going to be not letting it go to your head. I feel like whatever this is, you're going to be really good at it. And people are going to really start looking to you to do more, or looking at you with admiration, seeing things about you they never noticed before because of your ability to handle this situation. I feel like it's something sudden that's like, oh crap, can't believe that happened. Who can we ask? There's Andrew, that type of thing. And you're just like, hey, what? Go for it. Go for it with gusto. Go for the gold. You are a winner. You are a leader. And I know with the job you do, maybe you're isolated a little bit more than most people, especially at work. If you have the opportunity to work with others, be sure to do it well. Be yourself, but take charge in a way that doesn't seem like you're taking charge, if that makes sense. That's the advice from your team. Like, go for it, you know, challenge accepted, but just be discreet. Be discreet with your motivations, which is really weird. So maybe it's someone like, if you can do this, you know, this is what you can gain, but don't tell anyone else. Like, I'll give you a raise if you can do this, but don't let anyone else know, because they're part of the project. Everyone's going to want a raise. I don't think it's raise, but like something like that. I hope that makes sense, because sometimes I don't know what I'm even saying because I'm channeling it in. So this is your Mars in Aries. So the planetary position of Mars. But if you're an Aries sun, a lot of it flows together. You know, I know my Mars is in Aries. I don't know all my planetary positions, but I do know my Mars is in Aries because I get this card all the time. Like when I pull it, and it sounded familiar. So I looked it up and got my chart. Who's next?
Kira.
All right, Miss Kira. I'm going to use Della Wait. Yes, you got this. Kira, you are adorable. I love it. That does sound really cool, Andrew. Ooh, okay, Kira, you got the Little Mermaid, card number 17. I loved him so much. He was so handsome. I saved him from drowning, but he was a human prince and I was a mermaid living under the water. Such an impossible love. So I went to see the sea witch and made a dangerous bargain with her. I gained human, though hurtful legs. Alas, the prince chose another woman anyway. My heart broke, for I sacrificed and endured so much for this man. In despair, I chose death and went to heaven at last. Something is not very healthy and fair in here. It seems that you're the one making all of the efforts. You're swimming in troubled water. Kira, beware of dishonest bargains. You have high hopes and pure love, but a love that leads you to hurt and sacrifice yourself isn't true at all. The same applies for any kind of relationship or circumstance. Save yourself from this dead-end story and go find a brighter sea elsewhere. You are definitely giving too much somewhere. Whether it be romantically, which it very well could be, but it could be in any area of your life. It could be at work. It could be with a sibling, a parent, like literally anyone. Someone is just taking. They're basically a human straw, just like feeding off of you at this point. I feel like they're like dangling, like going fishing, you know, so to speak, quote unquote, where they're like future fake. I'm hearing like future faking, like, you know, I know it's horrible now, but don't forget, we have plans 5 years from now to just say it's romantic, to own our own home and have kids and a white picket fence and a dog. And you're like, yeah, you're right. All right, I can stick it through. Just know that with narcissistic type people, toxic people in general, there's no reward for sticking it out. They're never going to look at you, no matter the situation, and say, wow, Kira is really amazing. Look at all she's been through with me. Look at all she's stuck by me for. Wow, like, I owe her so. They're never going to say that. They're just going to keep saying more, 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 more. And when you can't give anymore, they're going to go find supply elsewhere. You are a source of supply for this person, whether it be romantic, sexual, you know, with your employer, whatever it is. There is something here that is very toxic. And I feel like deep down inside, you know that. But it's like you're still holding on to this idea that it's not, or that it doesn't always have to be, or it won't always be, because it wasn't always, right? This person didn't start off from day one behaving this way towards you. Guess what? This was who they always were deep down on the inside. Kira, you know it's time to break away. And I would never say just leave that situation, just leave that person, just leave that relationship. I think that is so ignorant to say to somebody. And it doesn't take into account the human experience and your humanness. But it is time to start thinking about it and to start really understanding the depth of the toxicity here. We've all been through it. Some of us are going through it. Again, it could be in any area of life. This person, relationship, situation, job, it is not for you. And I don't feel like this is a surprise, because I do feel like you deep down inside do know this, or at least are aware of it on the periphery. It's just not something you're willing to accept yet. The universe is saying, how much more time are you going to waste before you accept it? How many more years or months? How many more minutes would be too much, too long? Take the next week or two and really think about this and decide if you want to waste more of your time and more of your life, or if you want to move forward and move on. And if you choose the latter, just know that you always have people in here every week, whether it be Friday or Saturday or whatever day of the week this falls on, because it's been crazy lately, that will help you and guide you and listen to you and be here for you, and who won't hurt you or give you bad advice, but it is time to make that decision, for better or for worse. Good night, Nicole. Kira, you're so welcome. Love you too. Time to lay down boundaries and stick to them, enforce them. So I notice people are leaving because they're tired or they've been waiting a while. That's why we ask in the beginning, or like throughout, like if you have to leave or there's something going on, let us know so you don't miss your reading. Because I don't just want to keep skipping people either, because we did lose somebody for a complete accident. It's bothering me if you can't tell. Yeah, we're really good at setting boundaries, but it's the enforcing that becomes the issue for empaths and light workers. Who's next?
Mike Roberts, but I don't know if he came back or not. I didn't see him pop back in. We'll put him on hold. He may stick his nose in once he gets home.
Okay.
Go ahead and do Mandy.
All right, Miss Mandy.
And then if Guardian Jackpot's still here, Heather Burko, if you're still here, and Divine, you guys are all up next.
Guardian Jackpot, Heather Boyko, and Divine Empathic. Let me know that you're here and that you want a reading, please. Here we all are. We go through so much. Miss Mandy, I'm using Black Moon Lilith. Once you get used to enforcing your boundaries, though, it becomes so much easier, and then it becomes a part of life. You're just not the one anymore. And that's okay, because then the wrong people will no longer be attracted to you. I see you, Guardian. Good night, Mom. Love you. I'll call you over the weekend if I can. And if not, I'll talk to you during the week. Thank you for coming in.
Night, Mom. Have a blessed night, hon.
Mike was running from his date. He's miles away by now. He's probably halfway to Jersey. All right. Black Moon Lilith in Pisces. Honor your boundaries. Okay. Card number 12. We were just talking about this. So, Kira, pay close attention. Mandy, escaping reality can bring pleasure, romance, and joy into your life. When this card appears, it's a reminder to come back down to earth. Illusion can be a powerful creative vehicle, but it can keep you stuck. When your dreams are trapped in the spiritual realm of your mind, it can block them from manifesting as reality. This is also a time when you can let go of deflating patterns of self-sacrifice. No is powerful and will affirm your boundaries. You will lead a more aligned life naturally because you are choosing you. Black Moon Lilith in Pisces is the shadow of fantasy, escape, addiction, and seclusion. The zodiac sign Pisces is a water sign linked with the dynamic and vast ocean. Symbolized by the fish, this is the final sign of the zodiac, also associated with the biblical archetype of Jesus Christ. Pisces represents the unknown spiritual realm and sacrifice. When Black Moon Lilith is in Pisces, there's the desire to escape reality or have thin boundaries. Author, actor, and thought leader Russell Brand has this placement, as did Kurt Cobain. He is open about his difficult past with substance and sexual addiction. One of his books, Recovery, is a manifestation of channeling his shadow into light and creativity to help the collective. Rebellious creativity or using art to change others spiritually can be an empowering and healing outlet for this placement. Remain present. Channel your need for fantasy into creativity. I know you have so much going on right now that I can't even imagine. And I understand why you'd want to escape and kind of not think about it for a little while. And it's okay to do that. It's okay to have a moment where you take a step back and say, you know what? I'm not adulting today. That's it. Not doing it. Nope, not dealing. But the problem becomes when that feels so good to not have to think or feel that we get stuck there. What is that? Oh, okay. This is your spirit team, your guides, your angels telling you that it's time for you to pull yourself out of this. Even if facing reality is painful, I'm hearing go through what you grow through. The only way out is through. Like, you have to play through the pain. All of these cliche sayings, all of these memes, I guess. Mandy, I'm hearing something to the effect of like, not everything in your life is so bad that you shouldn't have to deal with it, like shutting everyone out, not dealing with anything. But we also can't pick and choose. For empaths, it's either we're on or we're off. And if we're on, we inevitably have to think about that thing or deal with that thing or go through that thing. Here's the thing, right? You're at risk of becoming trapped in escapism, addiction, and that doesn't have to look like drugs or alcohol, but it could. Even being addicted to not dealing, to not being able to handle situations, to not being able to deal with stress or emotional pain or baggage or shadow, whatever it is. And then you end up, like I've been talking about, I talked about it in the beginning of what I did to myself for the last month or so, 20 some odd days, where I just sat here over and over again, driving myself absolutely insane to the point where I was depressed. And like, I get sad and annoyed and aggravated. I'm not a depressed person, but I whipped myself into this frenzy over all these scenarios in my head. Like, and it was all for no reason. Now you have a real reason to want to do this. But the fact of the matter is, if you continue this way, only bad things will happen. You're not going to cope. And all of this that you're not dealing with now will lead to bad decisions, whether you mean them to or not. It's going to attract the wrong kind of people, users, abusers, toxic, narcissists, chaotic, more than hot messes, evil people who are going to take advantage of your vulnerability. It's okay to be vulnerable with the people you trust, but if you start shutting the people you trust out and dealing with people who don't know what you're avoiding, that's not a good situation. And you're going to look back 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 1 year from now, and be like, how did I waste so much time? Please pull yourself out of this, whatever it takes. If it takes therapy, if it takes just crying it out, screaming into a towel in the bathroom because you don't want anyone to hear you crying. But it's okay to show that emotion. It's okay to talk to someone who maybe understands, or deal with it by yourself, but make sure you're dealing with it, not escaping. There's a difference between taking time for yourself every day or as often as you can, and escaping every day or as often as you can. And that's where the difference lies. And you have to find that fine line, tread that balance, or move away from escapism altogether and just start plowing through as quickly and as efficiently as you can, whatever these situations are, or whatever this situation is that's putting you into this mindset.
These guardians next.
Yes, guardian, stress avoidance builds more stress. And that's exactly what it was for me. It was like, well, if I don't have this phone call with my mentor, he can't ask me why I haven't finished the book yet. But then it was like 10 days of not speaking to him and avoiding it. Then I was stressed about that because I'm like, oh, great. Now he's going to be mad at me. You know, there's the people pleaser. God forbid he doesn't like me. This is my friend. This is someone I look up to who has mentored me, who's given me opportunity after opportunity. Is the relationship perfect? Is he perfect? Am I perfect? No. But it is someone whose friendship I value and a person that I trust tremendously. And I was willing to throw it all away so I didn't have to hear him ask me a very simple question that I had a very simple answer to. It doesn't make sense, but I was avoiding, I was escaping. I didn't want to deal. Kira, good night, sweetie. Heather, you're after Guardian, so just hang out for another couple of minutes. Guardian, I'm going to use deep, dark, and dangerous. Mic drop. I know it's not easy. I know it's not. And it takes time to figure out the difference between avoidance and, actually de-stressing. You're so welcome. Thank you. All right, Guardian. Heather, it's that Jersey internet. I'm telling you, girl. Skyla, the card of resilience. Card number 8. Sometimes you can only deal with so much. That's true too. But that's why we have to surround ourselves with people who can take some of the burden when we need them to, and who we're willing to take some of the burden for when they need us. Nobody can do life completely alone, all by themselves, all the time. Not without failing at it miserably and having to repeat everything all over again next time. Guardian, life throws adversity at you. There is no escaping this, yet building resilience allows you to handle this better. Mandy, if I were you, I'd listen to this as well. Building flexibility is a key to developing resilience. Righteous anger is not shameful. Sometimes you get caught between a rock and a hard place. You need to make a decision between two poor outcomes to get where you need to go. Most people who know of Skyla were introduced to her through Homer's epic, The Odyssey. Odysseus wants to return home with his men, and he is told that he will have to pass through the Straits of Messina, close to 2 monsters, to do so. Skyla guards one side of the rough and narrow waters opposite Charybdis, another monster in the shape of an inescapable whirlpool. It said that the 2 monsters were in an arrow's range of each other, so that if one didn't get you, the other certainly would. So, who was Skyla, and was she always a monster? There are a number of origin stories of Skyla, but again, most relate to a woman being jealous of another and harming her enough that she becomes monstrous, a repeating motif in the ancient Greek world. Before she was turned into a monster, she was a beautiful sea nymph, daughter of Phorcys and Ceto, deities of the sea. They were also the parents of the Gorgons. In one myth, it said that Skyla was transformed by Poseidon's wife, Amphitrite, by placing a poisonous potion into the pool in which Skyla bathed. Poseidon had his eye on the beautiful Skyla, and Amphitrite became jealous. The second myth featured the handsome Glaucus, a sea god who fell in love with her, but who she rejected. He asked the sorceress Circe, who he was friends with, for a love potion to assist him, but Circe, however, was in love with Glaucus herself. Instead of the love potion, she created a drink that turned Skyla into a monster. Skyla then became a frightening creature who no man would ever find pleasing. She developed 6 heads on long snake-like necks, and each of those heads held a mouth with razor-sharp shark-like teeth. Her legs were girdled by savage dogs, and she no longer had a human voice, but made the baying sound of hounds. She had a half crab shell that stuck out of the black cave that tumbled. She had a half crab shell that stuck out of the black cave and tumbled rocks she was perched upon. Odysseus asked the advice of Circe about the best way to pass the monsters and survive. Circe advised that both monsters were terrible and that loss of life would happen, but it was better to get closer to Skyla and lose a few men than to lose everyone and the ship to the whirlpool of Charybdis. Homer writes of Skyla in Circe's voice. No crew can boast that they ever sailed their ship past Skyla unscathed. Skyla was not born for death. She is a thing of terror, intractable, ferocious, and impossible to fight. Odysseus was literally caught between a rock and a hard place, yet decided that battling Skyla would be preferable. He and his crew sailed to the strait where Skyla and Charybdis were, and knew that death was near. They sailed closer to Skyla, who rose up in rage and slaughtered 6 sailors. 1 man was taken by each of her heads. Skyla remained resilient and undefeatable. In a much later story recorded in Eustathius's commentary on Homer, it was said that the hero Heracles encountered Skyla during a journey to Sicily and managed to slay her. Her father, the sea god Phorcys, immediately applied healing flaming torches to her body, and she returned to life. Again, Skyla rises, righteously ferocious, to thwart yet another pesky hero. Your plant companion is the sea onion, and your crystal companion is one of my favorites, serpentine. So, and we're thankful to have you here. I'm so thankful for all of you, all of the time. So, Guardian, this is just talking about being able to bounce back. And I feel like your confidence in your own ability to do that is basically on point. In the next week or two, though, your will can end up being tested beyond what you perceive your limit of capacity to be. So again, with this motif or this theme of one thing after another, how much more can a person take? I literally hear you telling someone to like suck it up, right? Try not to compare someone else who's coming to you in pain to pain that you've been through. I do that a lot because I try to relate, but I know sometimes it's really not helpful and it just sounds like I'm avoiding what the other person is trying to be vulnerable about and making it about me. I feel like you could come off that way to someone who's reaching out to you to be vulnerable to you and maybe get some advice. I do feel like you have to make a decision, and it's like the lesser of two evils is still evil. But at the end of the day, within the next 2 weeks, a decision is going to have to be made. And I feel like it's a very personal one, even though deep down inside, you know what has to be done. It's just a matter of taking the steps to be able to do it. Remember that you don't have to explain yourself or your decisions to anyone. You don't owe anyone an explanation for how you live your life, the decisions you make, the things you do, the friends you keep, the company you keep, whatever. But there's always going to be people who think they're entitled to that information. You have a decision to make, and you need to make the best decision for you. It's also okay to ask for advice from people and then not take any of the advice and do what you want to do anyway. Skyla. Similar to Medusa, but not. There's so many of them. So Guardian, in the next week or two, just be mindful that if you continue to put this off, lay it to the side, or pretend like it's not happening, it's going to just snowball and get to the point where you're no longer going to have a choice. The universe is going to make the choice for you and then is going to therefore conclude that you have not learned enough of the lesson or the lessons to be able to make the decision for yourself. And you're going to be thrown right back to the wolves where you're going to have to relearn all of it again until you're finally able to make this really, really hard between a rock and a hard place, lesser of two evils type of decision. Latro, what is up? All right, I'm calling all these names once, guys, because it's that time of night where I am getting tired. You can tell I'm getting old already. I used to be able to do this till like midnight. Okay. Why is this not working? Okay, now it works all at once. Okay, I'm trying to see your list. Okay, there it is. Heather Boyko, New England Dirt Roadie, Football Cat, Free Spirit. All of you guys, let me know you're still here. Heather, I'm sorry?
I was just letting you know she was here.
I got this.
Okay, then
Heather, I'm going. You're okay. You don't have to apologize for speaking. You're good. That's why people think that I'm so mean to you. Netter, if you want one, I'm not saying I want to end right this minute. I'm just saying I'm not taking any new names. Heather, I'm going to use the Archangel Animal. Mandy, girl, I feel you on that. I really, really do. You got the B. Spread heart healing with joy. Archangel Preminielek. The B card reminds you, Heather, to do everything with joy. When you serve others and the planet with your heart open, an alchemical change takes place both in the giver and in the receiver. You become one and thus spread oneness throughout the universe. Solidarity and togetherness grow in the consciousness of the world. So let your actions be purposeful and allow the higher purpose to work through you and guide you. Then your life flows and the highest good always unfolds for you. The bees also guide you to remember the power and light conferred by the use of sacred geometry. Use its principles in your home and workplace, and the angels will sing over you, bringing light and peace. This is about pulling yourself away. And again, the theme, pulling yourself away from the one person or the one thing that is just taking and taking and taking, and who you can't seem to do enough for, or you can't seem to please, or that person or that situation, that relationship, and focusing on the people who do need your love and your attention, your affection, your good deeds, your light, your energy, right? I feel like there's one situation, relationship, and or person who has got you so just entangled in your head, Heather, that you're focusing all your energy on fixing that or on them. And the reality is there are so many other people who could really benefit from what you have to offer, but you're not doing it on purpose or selfishly. You're just consumed by this one person, relationship, and or situation because it means something to you. It's, there's something there that you want to fix, that you want to be right again, that you want to make all better. But this is your guides telling you, Heather, that sometimes people are brought into our lives just so we can learn lessons from them and they can learn lessons from us. When it gets to the point where you're giving all that you've got to one person, place, or thing, and it's not enough, then it's not enough anymore. When is enough enough? And it's not a failure on your part. It's just when we when we write our contracts, when we're in the fifth dimension with our soulmates, our twin flames, our soul family, all of that, all of those entities, all of that energy, the hardest relationships to let go of are usually the ones that teach us the most so that we can move forward and live our best lives, the closest we can get to our contracted life, if not the contracted life. But if all you do day in and day out is overthink about this, focus on this, give to this, give everything to it, you're not looking around and seeing the other people, places, and things that are joyful, that do bring you happiness, that do reciprocate love and energy and time. In the next week or two, your team wants you to ask yourself, how much is enough? I said this to someone before too. It's like, when is enough enough? And again, I'm not saying just leave it. You can't just pick up and leave a job if you don't have another one lined up. You can't just pick up and leave a long-term relationship that you're so invested in at the drop of a hat. But you can make the decision to do things differently and focus more on you and what brings you joy instead of focusing on them or that and what brings them joy, which seemingly is taking everything you've got and leaving you in misery. I don't know what and or who this is, okay? But it's time to really rethink this situation. And even though it sucks, like say you were working at this job for 10 years, but the boss is just horribly abusive and you can't take anymore, that means you have to do something because energetically it's bringing you down to like a really low point. Yes, it sucks that you quote unquote wasted 10 years, but did you? You're learning how to enforce a boundary. You're learning how to put yourself first. You're learning how to walk away from situations, people, places, and things that no longer serve you. You're learning how to step into your power. And you've also learned whatever skill you learned at that job for that 10 years. So yes, it sucks, but it's never a waste. No experience we ever go through is a waste. No matter which way we want to try and spin it, it's just not, because there are always lessons or at least a lesson to be learned. You can be miserable for as long as you want to, but your team is sick of seeing it. They're bringing this to your attention.
Divine is next. I know she's here. I just saw her.
Divine Empathic, I'm going to use the Human Spirit Oracle. Good night, Latro. Thanks for stopping in. Mike, how was your date? Guardian Jackpot said there's also meaning in the fact that if I hadn't been forced to time out and investigate my health, I likely would have died in the original timeline because I wouldn't slow down in saving the world. Yeah, it's what does that mean? It's like if you don't take time to focus on your wellness, you will be forced to focus on your illness. Physical disease is a symptom of spiritual dis-ease. And that's not to say people don't get sick. That's not what I'm saying. But a lot of it has to do with spiritual health. If your spiritual health is good, 99.9% of the time, your physical health will be good too. It's good, not over yet. You had a weekend date? Or do you... This whole time, I thought you were out on a date. I don't understand what's happening because I can't read the whole chat. All right, let me get moving here. Divine. I'm golden. In the shadow position, card number 8. Reversed. What is priceless and golden to you? When you truly get down to it and think about it, is it only material things and physical comforts that come to mind? Why do these quote unquote things mean to you? Why do you associate so much value to them? Is it because you're using them to fill a void? Or are you perhaps worried about keeping up with the other people around you with an image you have created in your head? There are also the pressures of social media and how we present ourselves, but behind all the filters and facades are humans who are hurting and putting on shows for other people. Are you trying to keep up with others on social media and what they seem to have? If so, ask yourself why and what is truly of value to you. Instead of subscribing to them, you need to subscribe to yourself. Take some time to look inward to mine what is truly precious, to mine what is a truly precious commodity, yourself. So, no, it's okay. Don't be sorry. I just didn't understand. So divine empathic, I don't think this is talking about you being like overly materialistic, but I do feel like there's something that you're not seeing clearly. You are looking at something through the lens of like social media or like of how you've been told something is supposed to be. So, for instance, say you met a significant other and they're pretty romantic, but they're not romantic like all of your friends' boyfriends are romantic, so they're not romantic enough for you. And this is a silly example, but it is exactly what this card is talking about or what your team is telling me too. But it's like, what's enough for you? Not what are their standards, what are yours? Are you holding people to your own standards? Or are you holding them to a standard that is unachievable or unobtainable because it's not real? If you're able to take a day or two or even just a few hours tomorrow and disconnect from the internet, I feel like you really do need to get in touch with yourself, realign, sort through what's important to you and what isn't, and don't worry so much about the judgment of other people that you barely know, don't know at all, or that you're friends with online. Not every chat is Gemma Jade Live Intuitive Oracle. People can be really rude and mean. And people also lie. I saw a thing the other day where a girl, she had her head like this, and it was a picture of her, dozing off. And she's like, oh, my baby caught me slipping. You could see on the other side of the room that she took the picture of herself. She was trying to make it look like she was having a cute moment with her significant other, and they weren't there. But we'll look at that, some of us, and be like, oh my God, that's so cute. They were cuddling and watching a movie together. Why don't I have that? It's all an illusion. It's all a facade. So what's really important to you at the end of the day, if there was no social media, if money didn't matter, what would matter most to you? And then look and see how you can make it matter the most now. Of course, we have to work. We have to earn money. We want to have friends. We want to be liked. But how badly do we want those things? To sacrifice our integrity, to up our tolerance for BS, drama, chaos, and lies? Watch the people you're surrounding yourself with in the next week or two. I do feel like there are some, I'm seeing like stupid, like queen bee energy, like, I don't know why I'm getting this from you, but it's like this wanting to impress, I don't want to say fit in, but it's like, it's weird. Like this wanting to be accepted by someone or some group and I just feel like at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. And if you would unplug and just like focus on yourself, even for a few hours, you'll realize that like, oh my gosh, like that was so silly of me. Obviously social media is so fake and nobody shows, you don't see too many, black eyes because somebody got hit the night before. And I'm not making a statement on domestic violence. I'm just saying you don't see that. Not usually. You see the flowers that people call just because flowers the next day. So it looks like this other person went out of their way to do something so romantic for no reason at all. But what's behind the camera? Don't base your life, your wants, your needs, or your goals, your ambitions, your aims on what other people's lives look like through a filtered lens. Good night, Mandy. Thank you so much for coming in, sweetie. Who's next?
New England.
Free Spirit, if you're here, please let us know now. New England, I'm going to use the horror, classic horror. Never compromise your morals, not ever. Listen to Aunt Edna. Yep, still going. It's not really that late. It just feels like it's been a long time because I'm always so tired lately because of all the stress I've put myself under. I'm taking this weekend to rejuvenate and recharge, relax a little bit, and then get back to the grind Monday. Ooh, okay. We got the card of celebration. Carrie, 1976. They're just trying to trick me again, I know. It can be easy to find ourselves pushed beyond our personal limits, especially when drenched in a bucket full of others' cruelty and ignorant misjudgments. Venturing out with a sense of optimism comes with the risk of bitter disillusionment, and we may find ourselves even lashing out, even at those who have tried to help us all along. A celebration can turn into a nightmare. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. New England Dirt Roadie, this is you just not taking any risks because they're not worth it. Maybe you feel like you are, but I feel like there's so much more you could be doing maybe to put yourself out there. And I don't mean this in a judgy way at all because I really do get it. I don't do much myself, but I feel like there are things you want to experience in life, either for the first time or again, but you just don't want to have to deal. Like you don't want to deal with maybe, I'm just using this as an example, like a relationship because you don't want to deal with a relationship eventually breaking up, or you don't want to deal with moving across the country because you don't want to deal with having to find a house and a job and everything that comes along with that, new friends. And this is the universe. This is your spirit team telling you nothing ventured, nothing gained. If you want to stay stuck, stale, and stagnant, or if you're completely and totally happy and fine where you are right now and want nothing more at all with your life, stay doing what you're doing. But you're missing out on a lot of amazing opportunities, amazing people that should be in your life right now that aren't because you're just not willing to risk putting yourself out there. And that's okay if you're not ready. But for a while now, the universe and your team have been urging you to put yourself out there at least a little bit more. And don't worry about it turning out to look like this, right? Because more often than not, when it's our time to experience these things as it is for you right now, it's not going to end up that way. Divine Empathic, thank you so much. And thank you everyone else who donated through the stream or PayPal and Cash App that I don't get to thank because I don't see it till after. This is your time to experience all of these amazing things. But if you don't take a risk, if you don't take a chance, no risk, no reward, right? And right now, the risk for you should be worth the reward. That's amazing. Great. You're going to get the job and you're going to go there and your life is going to be fabulous again. As fabulous as anyone's life can be. Keep taking small risks, little chances, baby steps back out into the world. There's so much waiting out there for you, so much opportunity, so much abundance. You just have to believe that that's what it is and not that it's this. Everything out there is this. Who's next? Well, let me tell you, you didn't get it because there's something better coming in that you never would have been able to experience had you gotten that job. I've been telling myself that for 2 months now with losing the writing contract. Like, I never would have been able to take whatever's coming next, which is going to be amazing and huge and fantastic and everything I ever dreamed of if I was contracted to only write for one company at any given time. If you start telling yourself that, you will manifest it to be true and something huge will fall into your lap before you know it.
Okay, Free Spirit never answered back. So Mike is next and the last, unless you're going to do KC.
She messaged me today, but I didn't get to it. I'll do a quick one for her.
Okay.
Mike, let's also use classic horror. And for Miss KC, we'll use Celebrity Spirit. I love these new decks. My baby is home. My other baby's home. I'm going downstairs to get some ice cream and going to bed. Help me! The Exorcist. Oh, RJ's giving him a hard time going to sleep. 1973. What's wrong with me? It can be really hard to ask for help, especially when we're struggling. We may even act outwardly as though help is the last thing we want or need, or resort to awful behavior to repel those coming to our aid. But a cry for help can reveal itself even while unspoken if those around you can read the signs. Have faith in others and ask for help. Nutslap, I read for you a while ago. Like right in the very beginning. I don't even remember what your card was. Oh, this was your card. I believe, Nutslap, this was your card. It was the 4th reading. All right. No demon in the shower. This is you not manifesting the things that you're trying really hard to manifest because you're trying to do everything by yourself. Nobody can live this human experience alone at all times forever. Yes, you've had people who have come into your life and taken advantage of your vulnerability and used and abused you and betrayed your trust and made you lose faith. But now people have come into your life or are currently coming into your life where you do have people who aren't going to do that to you, but you have to open up to them. Mike, you have to be willing, especially in the next week or two, to be vulnerable, because otherwise you're going to lose a really important person who is important, who is going to either end up meaning something really big for your life or who already does. You don't want to go around, especially in the next week or two, pushing people away because of how others treated you. That has nothing to do with whoever this person is or whatever this opportunity is. Don't let the past predict how you behave in the present. Otherwise, your past is going to end up predicting your future. Learn your lessons, grieve, mourn, be upset, be righteously angry, be angry in general, and then move on and move forward and learn to trust again. And you can do that by following your instinct, your intuition, and knowing who to trust and when. But if you're not willing to try, like I just said to New England Dirt Roadie, then there's no way you're ever going to find out. In the next week or two, you have to take risks and trust people and be open and be vulnerable. And if you trust 5 people, maybe 3 of them will let you down, but 2 won't. And I know there's at least 1 in the next week or 2, or at the very least a month or so, or at the very most a month or so, who is going to be really important. But if you push them away, they're going to be gone and you're going to miss that opportunity. All right, Miss KC, and then I'm going. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for coming in and hanging out. All right, if that wasn't your card, I do know I read for you though at some points. Be sure to check out my books, Kindle paperback and Audible. Links in the description box of every video except this one because I had to put a really long disclaimer. One video coming out at 11 a.m. Eastern on Monday. That is the Slender Man. All things Slender Man. And check out the description box, ways to donate, my Amazon wish list, gift link, PayPal, Cash App. And just know I love you guys. I'm always thinking about you guys. Reach out anytime. Gemma Jade Paranormal at gmail.com. All right, Miss Casey's timestamp, and then good night. Judy Garland, Think Big. Card number 6. Innocent, Prodigy, idealist, creative talent. Judy Garland was born Frances Ethel Gumm. She was born on the 10th of June, 1922, and died on the 22nd of June, 1969. Her lifelong struggle with substance abuse ultimately led to her death from an accidental barbiturate overdose in London. She was an astrological Gemini. From an early age, Judy was an American actor, singer, and dancer. During a career that spanned 45 years, she attained international stardom as an actor in dramatic and musical roles and as a recording artist, and worked as a singer on the concert stage. Her last concert was in England. Judy won many awards for her work and was recognized worldwide. She is best known for her portrayal of Dorothy Gale in The Wizard of Oz. Judy struggled from an early age with the pressures of stardom. This affected her physical and mental health, and her image was criticized by film executives who constantly treated her poorly. Oh, thank you so much, Guardian. Well, go ahead and do that and let us know how it goes. Good luck. And thank you so much for coming in and for hanging out with us. KC, the message, always be a first-rate version of yourself instead of a second-rate version of somebody else. When I channeled Judy, I felt her vulnerability, sensitive nature, and the sense of duty she always felt she had to have at the expense of her own identity. She came across as very sweet and childlike. I also felt Judy experienced many highs and lows in her life, but always did her best as a true entertainer, trying to please everyone and survive in her own way, the way she thought she could. Even though Judy had many downfalls in her professional and personal life, I felt she had the power within to get back up again and keep going, no matter what the odds, and often to her own detriment. The message of this card is about being okay to have faith in life, to feel happy, and to be optimistic about the way you see life unwinding for you, but also to learn from all the hard lessons along the way, so you don't have to constantly repeat them. Unfortunately, patterns are always the same, but you never seem to read or understand the signposts and warning signs from the last time you went down that yellow brick road of utter destruction. When you think about it, life is like a large stage on which we constantly play out our experiences or spiritual lessons to learn from and to grow as eternal souls. So, Casey, I've watched you for a really long time, like kind of follow that yellow brick road and come into this place of forgiveness where you're able to really focus on your spiritual journey and not on anger or resentments or confusion or your feelings towards others or others feeling towards you. In the next week or two, be careful, because I do feel like you could fall back into old patterns if you're not careful. If you start to feel those same old ways that you and your team have worked so hard to pull you out of over the past few years, reach out, if not to me, to someone else, and remind yourself of how far you've come, how proud I am of you, how proud your team is of you, how proud you are of yourself, I'm sure. And keep staying focused on the future. Just like I just said numerous times and many times throughout the stream tonight, don't focus on the past, because if the past is dictating the present, that means the past also dictates the future. You are bound to repeat the same mistakes. So don't follow the yellow brick road. Create your own path through the trees. Fall asleep in the poppies. Be really careful if you're dealing with someone with who's in some kind of addiction or hurt, habit, hang-up struggle. It's not your issue or responsibility. They have to help themselves. Don't put your energy where it's just going to be sucked up and dried out and not reciprocated. I love you guys. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you on Monday. Bye.